Since the dawn of recorded time, the molecular structure of life first stirred in the loins of the primeval swamps. Or to put it another way, ever since Crossroads started. Man has been aware of a threat to his security. He's been acutely conscious of a brooding presence which menaces his entire existence on this planet. A flickering shadow of evil that blights his struggle for the fulfillment of happiness. No, I'm not talking about the wife's mother. You see, tonight we talk about matters even nastier than that knee-length knickered Mussolini. Because tonight we talk about them, the faceless ones, who are out to destroy us all with their malignant plans and policies. Them. But don't panic, fellow Britons. Stay calm. Because at last, somebody cares about your welfare and what they're doing to your way of life. Dawson is watching. Good evening. This is Dawson Control. It's from here, with the aid of this apparatus that we got from Catweasel, that we will be watching them. Just who are these enemies of mankind, you may ask yourself? Well, let's meet a representative of one of the dark forces aligned against us. Looks pretty harmless, doesn't it? An ordinary example of a male Caucasian urban dweller. He even acts like one. He gets his son's homework wrong. He likes a pint with the lads. His wife develops migraine and backache when he feels frisky. He forgets birthdays and anniversaries. He cheats at golf and would cheerfully throttle a traffic warden with a VAT form. On the surface, he appears to be the average man in the street, harassed, but he isn't. Because, ladies and gentlemen, he is an alien. One of the worst kind. Dedicated to bringing you to your knees. You see, he is an estate agent. I thought that would chill your blood. An estate agent is somebody with the sort of imagination that hovers somewhere between Jules Verne and Crippen. And he has a heart that's so cold it runs on antifreeze. He plays an important role in this indictment because tonight the subject is houses. Now, most of us yearn for a house of our own, a material dream to cherish, to build on, a nest in which to raise the fledglings of the future family dynasty, a sanctuary against a quite often hostile world. It seems a simple desire, doesn't it? But getting it is quite a different matter. In fact, it's about as easy as a tailor trying to measure Mangus Pike for a suit. When you first get married, well-meaning friends and relatives say to you, put your money in bricks and mortar, lad. Invest in property. It's a fine philosophy in theory, but supposing you're skint, can you imagine trying to pay your rates with a brick? Or of paying your final demand on the gas bill with 2 slates and a downspout? Nowhere. Just as a matter of interest, how many people in the audience own their own house? Whereabouts do you live? Weybridge? That's where they take fish and chips home in a briefcase. 2. When they win at bingo there, they don't shout out, they stand up, wave the gloves and say masonry. It's the only place I know where they get red cabbage through Interflora. Who's thinking of buying a house? Anybody? Whereabouts? What district?
Croydon.
Oh, I've been there. It was shut. Is there anybody in the audience who's just bought a house? Or a gentleman at the back with a glazed expression? Don't worry, sir. Time is a great healer. Now, I've got news for you. The mortgage rate's just gone up. We're the garters tonight. Now, the task of the estate agent is to con, precondition and train us into lumbering ourselves with crumbling slums that any self-respecting squatter would queue up to get out of. Now, to buy a house, we need a lot of money, and we have to borrow it. So now we're in the hands of the moneylenders, and they'll take you to the cleaners. From the day I bought my first house, I've been cleaned out more times than a gastric parrot's cage. But having a house, of course, is a normal, everyday desire, and a very nice one. It's what we all want, because you can't live with in-laws. You must be on your own. When the wife and I first got married, we lived with the wife's mother. We were there for over 5 years. And I must say that in all that time, we only fought 3 times. Morning, noon, and night. She used to prowl around the house like a sort of bronchial warthog. With a face like a bag of spanners. Hell of a size. She didn't have elastic in her drawers, it was swish rail. When she crossed her legs, it was like looking at 2 gammas in a stranglehold. She once stood outside the house in just a vest, it looked like a canvas-topped abattoir. She never stopped talking, it was murder, even her gums had jet lag. She said, "You leave everything alone in this house, it's not your house, you're only here on sufferance. Don't put the television set on when you feel like it, it's on rental. I'll choose the programmes, it's up to me to put them on. Don't think you can have a bath when you feel like it, because that entails putting on the immersion heater, and that costs a lot of money, so I'll put the immersion heater on. I want 2 days' notice. And don't think when you come in late, as I know you do frequently, you can brew it when you like in the kitchen. Don't use my kettle, it's a Russell Hobbs from my catalogue. I'll put the kettle on." One night she went to the cinema and I flashed a message on the screen for her to return immediately. She came back and she stood panting in the vestibule like a stationed horse that's just been reprieved from the knackers. She said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Nothing, the fireworks broken." It wasn't just her, there was the wife's father. Oh, he drank like a demented carp. In fact, he suffered from alcoholic constipation. He couldn't pass pubs. Also in that hideous menage, there were the wife's 2 eldest sisters. They were a peculiar couple. One was knock-kneed, one was bandy. When they stood together in the nude, they spelt ox. Then there was the wife's brother. God knows when he last worked, but he was a site foreman on Hadrian's Wall. I said, "In all the years you've been at the Labour Exchange, have they ever offered you a job?" He said, "Only once. Apart from that, they show me nothing but kindness." Apart from having to put up with these people, the house was a mess. It was very miserable. It was decorated nearly Gestapo. And it was in badly need of repair. In fact, vandals used to break in and decorate it. Terribly overcrowded, where if you all breathed in at the same time, the cat suffocated. The wife and I had a bedroom. It was so small, when I turned the lights off, I was in bed before it was dark. In fact, at the finish, I thought sitting down was something rich people did. But at least we had shelter. Because despite the fact that we live in a highly complex and technical civilization, statistics prove that the increase in homeless families is quite alarming. Did you know, for instance, that a lot of people are actually having to live in abandoned cars? And what hurts me so much is that most cars in this country are Japanese, so the chances are that they're paying rates to Datsun. We have been assured that there's going to be a change. Well, let's have a look.
Morning. Morning. I've had a word with the council about the circumstances under which you live and the fact that your wife is pregnant, and I'm happy to say that we are able to offer you larger accommodation.
Have you seen enough? What a dreadful state of affairs. But who do you turn to in times of trouble? You can't tell the government to go to hell because they're building it for us. Everybody's your own choice. My family, my wife's family, always vote Labour. Well, they have to do, they can't spell Conservative. But when it comes to the creature comforts, politicians turn a different cloth. You may have read recently they've just spent £3,000 to install a new toilet in the House of Commons. Personally, I think it's money well spent. It's the only place where they know what they're doing. They'll think I want to rise. If you can't afford a house of your own, then the next thing you do is you look for a council house. And to get a council house, you have to go through a very bizarre sort of tradition, a ritual which is called putting your name down on the housing list. Our hidden cameras were there recently to peep on a couple who were trying to get one.
I'm getting married soon, you see, and I wondered what the chances were of getting a council house.
About the same as Cyril Smith being voted Slimmer of the Year.
Well, I'll put you on our list, but quite frankly, I don't hold out much hope.
Told you, didn't I?
We allocate houses on a strict points basis, you see. 10 points if you're married, 5 points for each child you have, 5 points if you're living with your in-laws. Additional points if you're particularly poor, if there's evidence of overcrowding, if the house you're living in happens to be damp. For psychological reasons. Say the conditions that you're living in cause you to be unbalanced. Or if you're incapacitated in any way. And so on and so on.
So there you have it. So if you're not a destitute, one-legged maniac with 24 kids, living with your mother-in-law and Hull Kingston Rovers in a wet tent, forget it. What I think is wrong about this system is it actively encourages to breed like rabbits.
Well, the position is this, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. You are joint top of our housing list with the same number of points, but we only have one house available.
So, if my wife and I had another child...
Yes.
Not dreadful, it's like watching the Christmas edition of Blue Peter. The whole system basically is ludicrous because there aren't enough council houses to go round. You can't have one unless you've got a lot of kids, so you have a lot of kids. Then they grow up, and they want a council house. I can just see this country in 100 years' time. Everybody in Acton will spend their entire life having it away in one vast council house. But we'll still have the diehards frantically poring over the papers looking for a modest red brick Shangri-La or a Baroque wimpy masonette. And to understand an estate agent's jargon, you need 9 A-levels in Swahili or to spend a month in Gateshead with a Geordie bookie. First house I ever saw was advertised in an estate agent's window. It read, "For sale, Modcon, Semdet, Tatdum, Gids, Fit, Upscaled, Roadhouse, Sendreet, I went in, I said to the estate agent, "How much do you want for that house that's advertised in the window?" He said, "Which one?" I said, "The Modcon, Semdet, Tat, Gab, Fudge, Gab, Exelgab, Ross, Sendreet, Roadhouse." He said, 2,500. We were lucky, we got it for 1650. That was the year it was built. Had an unusual feature. It had a sunken bath. It went all the way down the house. It's called a moat. But we've still got optimism. We keep staring in the estate agent windows, don't we? And if we see something we like, we wonder where the money will come from to buy it. So let's see what the man in the street does, how he goes about raising money to buy a house. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me, sir. Yes, sir. Have you had to raise money to buy a house?
Well, I'll tell you this. I'll pay £30 licence willingly if you get rid of the houses, fatty, and put them birds on again. Big bird with those big bristles. This is going to act like a Venetian blind. I'm going short, that's my trouble. Got the last bird I had on the side was a suffragette. You know why? Because she was tied to the railing. I'm not getting enough. And as far as I'm concerned, I need more.
Sorry about that, Mr. President. I'll cure him, I'll show him a photograph of the wife. I'm not saying she's fat, but we use the knickers for hang gliding. Now, when you come to buy a house, there are 4 ways you can raise the money. You can go through a building society. I tried this, disaster. I said to the manager, "How do I stand for a mortgage?" He said, "You don't, you grovel." You can get money through an insurance company. You can borrow off your local council, or you can get it by robbing a bank. And of these, robbing a bank is by far the easiest. You don't believe me, do you? You try it. Getting money out of a building society is only slightly easier than trying to win a spot-the-ball competition at a convention of eunuchs. Just watch this.
Yes, well, that takes care of that. Now, about this house you're interested in buying, Mr. Evans, how much money do you think you'll be able to lend the Dulwich?
I thought the idea was that you lent me the money.
Well, yes, it is, but you've got to lend it to us first, of course.
Oh.
You see, it works like this. Now, you deposit, say, £10 a week with the Dulwich, and on this we give you a very generous rate of interest, 5%, and then when you've saved enough for a deposit, we lend it back to you for a piffling 15%.
10% more.
Yes, you could put it like that, yes.
So what you're saying is that for every £10 I lend you, you're going to lend me 9.
Oh, it's not quite as simple as that, old chap.
No?
No, what is simple, though, is for you to give me £1 every week.
Oh. All right. Here you are, then.
Cheers. Nice doing business with you. See you next week.
Oh, yes.
Now we understand money. Now let's try to understand estate agents. Now, estate agents are not strangers to the truth. No way, they're liars. When they say that a house is pebble dashed, what they really mean is that all the big cracks have been bunged up. Here's an example. Let's have a look at some of their little imaginative flights. Wonderful. Here's one. Let's do it. All right. Cosy, delightful Swedish-style bungalow. On investigation, that turned out to be a Nissen hut near Biggin Hill. Tudor-style house with great charm and small, well-kept gardens. That turned out to be a Victorian coroner's office with a plastic wooden beam in the dinette. The garden was in a mess. In fact, the grass was so tall, every time a frog jumped, he got a double hernia. Oh, they were right on one thing. The garden was small. In fact, you treated the roses for greenfly and cramp. To help you find your way through the flights of an estate agent's fevered fancy, we've computerised all their favourite phrases.
Ideal for conversion.
It's falling down.
Free from dry rot.
Full of wet rot.
Split level.
Subsided.
Very quiet neighbours.
Next door to a cemetery. Having picked your house and got the mortgage raised, you may think everything is plain sailing from now onwards. How wrong you would be. You see, before you can move in, the previous owners have got to move out. And so it goes on all along the line. It's like a daisy chain. Take the case of John Ramsbottom of 24 the High Street, Mythenroyd. Here he is on the map. Now, he has recently got promotion and hence has to now work in the firm's head office in Birmingham. So he's got another mortgage and has now agreed to buy Villen, Wood Street, Birmingham, from Mr. and Mrs. Higgins, a lovely couple, Violet and Leonard. Here they are. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Higgins can't vacate Villen until their new retirement flat on the coast of Filey is vacated by the Wetherells. But the Wetherells can't move till their new house in Sutton Coldfield is free from the Johansons, who in turn can't move till the Greens can be displaced from a masonette in Waltham Abbey. Isn't this a fun-filled gobbit? But they're sitting and waiting for Miss Lena Gell to move out of her terrace in Crystal Palace. But she can't move till the Bickerstaffs moved out of number 10 Mount Nessing Road, St Ives. Plums are cheap, who can't move until the Pattersons are shifted from Cardiff. But the Pattersons are waiting for the Hendersons to leave Glasgow. And the poor Hendersons are longing for the Hughes to move from Cockermouth. But the Hughes can't move because Mr. and Mrs. Brian Ford of Wigan, Lancashire are still at 18 Canal Street. So all these people, up and down the country, are being blocked by Brian Field of Wigan. Who is this monster? Who is this Brian Field? Who has brought so much misery to so many people? Of course, Brian Field of Wigan is waiting for Ramsbottoms of Mythenroyd to move out. Stalemate. The chain has now formed a complete circle and is now an unbreakable hoop of steel. And it would have stayed that way Because, but luckily, every chain has a weak link. And happily for everybody, Len and Violet passed away. And so the way was clear for every one of those poor innocents to meet yet another of them. Yes, my friends, a bland, pinstripe-suited legal piranha fish who'll strip your wallet to the bone in seconds, the solicitor.
Come in. Let's sit down. Can I help you?
I hope so. You see, I'm in the process of buying a house.
No, not so fast. A mess wage.
A what?
A mess wage. I'll explain it to you in very simple terms that even a layman like you can understand. A mess wage is a term for a house and its surrounding property.
Oh.
Mess wage. Now repeat after me. Mess wage.
He came in the door a man, and already he's a candidate for being potty trained. Of course, it's in the legal profession's interest to make the law as complex and as boring as possible. And that way, none of us feel encouraged to try and understand it. Have you ever read any law books? It's like looking through a copy of Fanny Hill in Yiddish. But how is our subject doing? Not very well. He's just been told how long it will take. And now he's just been told how much it will cost.
How much?
Conveyancing is a very complicated process.
Oh, Pickfords are doing the conveyancing.
No. Oh, never mind.
I know. Perhaps I could do it myself.
Are you some sort of troublemaker? Or an anarchist, perhaps? Or a witch reporter?
I only wondered if I
No,
could
you
save
could
a
not
little.
do it yourself.
Why not?
You're not clever enough, that's why not. Only clever people can do conveyancing. You have to take an abstract of title, then make a search of the land register going back 15 years to check for any encumbrances, and before negotiating the exchange of contracts and securing completion of the mess wage. Do you understand all that?
Well, nearly.
I bet you don't know what the 1925 Sale of Land Act says, or the Law of Property 1964, or the result of Smith versus Mansai, or Harris v. Batty.
Well, I could look them up.
What's an ultra vires rule, or a quasi-easement, or a curtilage? No, it's not a lump of gristle in the middle of your knee. Do you know what a remainder man is, or a testator, or an escrow?
No.
Well, there you are, you see. How on earth can you do your own conveyancing if you don't know what an escrow is?
I suppose you're right. What is an escrow?
Well, it's very difficult to explain. And we don't want to waste my time and your money, do we?
What a liar. Do you know what his motto is? Don't put off tomorrow what you can do next year. But at least the client has the consolation to know that by the time he gets his own new house, it'll probably be a building of historical interest. Hang on, here's another one.
Sit down. Now let's see. It's 16 Acacia Avenue, isn't it? Yeah, so we searched through the records and,
Well, what is it? What did you find?
well, it's all to do with King Harold, I'm afraid. You see, an ancient statute gives anyone of Saxon ancestry a right of way across your land.
Eh?
So almost anybody in this country can drive a herd of cattle right across your garden.
Oh, great. Well, what do I do then?
Well, if that should happen, sir, I suggest you give us a ring.
Give him a ring, that's a gag. That'll put another £100 on the bill.
You are not allowed to sell the house to a person with more than 2 F's in their name, nor sell oranges on a Sunday. And if a traveller knocks on your door, you must give him a glass of mead.
Bloody hell.
But let's not disguise the fact that sometimes it does happen that contracts do get exchanged. It's sort of legal checkpoint Charlie. And then you've got your little dream house. It's only just begun, the nightmare. Though the house doesn't fall down immediately, of course. The surveyors jack the foundations up. You've got the neighbours to meet.
Thank you. Oh, it's perfect. Naturally, we'll do a bit of decorating, but it's just right.
4 bedrooms, lovely big
A
kitchen.
magnificent garden, and I've got a good workshop.
The price is right.
Everything's right.
And it's ours. Sometimes I think there must be a catch.
What catch can there be?
I see they took the shag pile.
Well,
they had a lot of trouble with that cat.
Never had it doctored. No. You must be the new people.
That's right, I'm Colin and this is Angie.
Very nice. Well, this is my friend Sissy. And I made it. We're your next-door neighbours on that side.
Yes. Mine's the garden with the alabaster gnomes and the ceramic peacock.
She's got it beautiful, she has, you really. Very nice. It's nice to see somebody in the house after all this time. It's years since it happened.
What happened?
My lips are sealed.
It took years to get rid of the smell. Did they block up the drain?
Oh, yes. Immediately after the pest control people left.
They never found Mr. Clegg, you know.
No.
But I still swear that there was something struggling in that box that they threw in the culvert.
Well, he was always elusive.
I thought he was a lapsed Methodist.
You know, sometimes, Ada, you're pig ignorant.
That's very nice of you to do, people, I must say. Well, most, I'm sure you'll be very happy here, if you're not psychic.
And if there's anything at all you want,
anything.
just speak up. We're always listening. I mean, available. Not like some I could mention.
That one.
Next door, the other side. £10 worth of Marks and Spencer's seconds, and she thinks she's Lady Muck.
I know for a fact she'd been bringing home Woolworths lampshades in a Harrods bag.
No.
Don't I know that one? And she's not averse to knocking on your door and asking for £0.5 a centre pods. She's not very regular. Had a lot of trouble, you know, ever since her husband died. Lovely man, a wonderful fellow. He just sat up in the bed and said, "We'll always be sweethearts," and went black. I was sat there looking after the parrot, you know. I was just sat there. I was having a glass of Nesquik and a Devonshire split. It was awful to see him go.
Mind you, she's not as bad as him. Oh. And with that chainsaw.
Oh.
He's always waving it about, you know. Oh, yeah. Mind you, I think he's a bit strange.
Think he's a bit of it, yes.
I do.
Since he's been inside, the scout meetings have dropped off.
Well, they had to draw a veil over the choir trip, you know.
But the cadet never gave evidence against that masked alderman in Acton. That was one thing about him. Mind you, he's had a lot of funny problems, that man. He was never the same after his friend ran away with that woman from number 32 in the wheelchair.
Ah, it was sad.
She's a lovely woman, what she may be. Oh, incidentally, be careful what you hang out.
What?
On the washing line. It's him at number 29.
I didn't know it. He hasn't been pinching any of yours, has he?
No, he doesn't go in for turquoise. That's that Latvian emigre, Vic, from number 29. He's the one. Mind you, I blame his wife for the conditions he's in, you know what I mean? After all, a man's entitled to a little bit of... Oh, he's not had his leg over for years. Nothing. Lives like a monk, a Trappist. What makes me sick was when she was younger, she was a madam, that one.
Never.
Ooh, I could tell you some stories about that.
Go on.
Ooh! During the war, she had more soldiers than Eisenhower. Couldn't get in the bedroom for gum wrappers. And I'll tell you something else. She drinks on the quiet. She likes to drink that one.
Drinks?
Ooh! I tell you, she always reckons she's coming back from the bread shop. Have you ever heard bread clink?
What is it?
British sherry. Do you know, there's so many empty bottles in the back garden, it's put £300.
What have we let ourselves in for?
Well, I always been a bit old in your own life. It's too late to back out now. You've got a millstone round your neck. They have struck again. And what about them? The evil forces that got you into this mess in the first place. How do they react? Well, they won't get away with it forever. I'll tell the truth to all the doctors, tradesmen and politicians. You manipulators of mankind, it's your turn next. Because Dawson is watching. And Dawson has his feelers out. Life can be hell. Good night. For it is written in the lost book of the old ones that a voice spake from the celestial void and did thunder to the peoples of the earth, for thy perfidy and thy greed
The skies will be rent asunder by slivers of fire. The seas will boil and the earth's crust will be no more. The rest of the night will be fine with scattered showers. Now, I mentioned that little joke, and it's one that never gets any bigger, in order not to alarm you, my fellow Britons, but nevertheless to warn you that the aliens, them, are still bent on your destruction. They walk amongst us. Be careful. Look at your neighbour and say to yourself, is he one of them? But be calm, because Dawson is watching. Dawson Control is go. Good evening, here from Dawson Control, which is a job lot from Lego. It's here where we monitor the movements of those who make our lives tedious and difficult. Tonight we discuss another facet of our struggle against them. Our theme this evening is transport. Planes, trains, cars, going from A to B in the shortest possible time. They made a television series about it. It was called Mission Impossible. Man is born free. Is by nature a wanderer. But the sole object of the travel moguls is to stop you going anywhere. For instance, have you ever tried to read a railway timetable? Look at that. Did it? It's like looking at a Latin prescription for piles. They use other sinister methods called the railway announcer. Never once have I understood a railway announcer. For instance,
the train now standing in platform 4 is a 440 bound forward, no time left.
Now, if you think you know how we did that, please send us a stamped address, pound of steak, and we'll give you a puzzle. But what does all that mean? It sounds like the wail of a very badly doctored Tom. What helped you get on the railways? Last week I ran after a train, just in time to see it clatter away. A sarcastic porter with a woodbine butt in his mouth said, "Did you miss the train?" And I said, "No, I never really got to know it very well." Nobody seems to know what's going on, and to make matters worse, the only people who speak English on British Railway these days are the customers. The fella in the ticket office is usually an unfrocked bishop from Krakow. And the staff in the railway buffet look as though they've just auditioned for Roots. I understand their problems. I used to work to my bitter cost many years ago. I used to work on British Railway at the crew station buffet. I was a meat pie reviver. Actually, sort of going off the tangent on a more emotional theme, that's where I met the wife in crew. She worked in a discount store. I went in for a lampshade. I said, "What will you take off for cash?" She said, "Everything but my earrings." Finally, you get on the right train, and believe me, it's always better to go first class, because then you sit down on a more expensive layer of dust. Because let's face it, trains these days are filthy. In fact, the Beatles walk across the compartments on stilts. Have you seen those toilets? You have to spray them with DDT, but flies will come in. If you're lucky, there might be a restaurant on the train, and I must say, there's one thing about British Railway, you can't fault the food. There's never enough of it to form an opinion. I had a meal coming down from the north last week. I said to the waiter, "Very nice meal." I said, "Please convey my respects to the chef and your staff. The cuisine was excellent. The peacock vol au vents were magnificent. And the wine was chilled to a perfection." He said...
It's we who should thank you, sir. It's very rare that we get a gourmet of your calibre on this train. I said, that's very nice of you to say so, but frankly and categorically, I had intended never to eat on this train again, because last time I had a meal, you yourself bodily and somewhat brutally threw me off at Watford because I couldn't pay for the meal. He said, I'm awfully sorry, sir. It's quite apparent on hindsight that I made a grave error of judgment. I said, not at all, I shall have to trouble you again. What about the other forms of travel? What about flying? Now, last month I took the wife away on a charter flight to Paris. You could tell it was a charter flight. We were strapped to the wings. I wouldn't say the plane was old, but Amy Johnson's lunch was still on the seat. In fact, it's the only plane I know that took off from a kneeling position. Halfway across the channel, we refueled in midair. We took on wood. Then disaster struck. The propeller fell off, so did the wings, the tail blew up. Pandemonium ensued. I gripped the wife's arm. It was like getting hold of a leg of pork. I said, my darling, we're in trouble. She said, I know, we'll be stuck up here all night now, I suppose. Anyway, after that flight, I said, never again. Mind you, I said that last summer when we sat in the airport lounge at Heathrow for 7 days waiting to go. Then we sat in Benidorm Airport for a week waiting to come back. Thanks to the winning ways of this young lady and the human weakness of a high official, I saw the negatives. Is it your own whip? We are able to show you some exclusive film of the extraordinary scenes of last year's airport chaos.
Will all passengers for flight 117 to Torremolinos please make their way to gate 29? Repeat, will all passengers for flight 117...
What the hell do they think they're playing at then?
Please make their way
Right.
to gate 29.
Yes, sir?
What is all this about flight 117 going to Torremolinos?
Yes, sir. Gate 29, due to take off on schedule, sir.
They can't do that. We've been looking forward to this holiday all year.
What holiday, sir?
What holiday? Right here. Meeting all our friends from previous years. All the community singing every night for the bingo. I even fancy my chances at the darts this year.
Really, sir?
Oh, yes. And Julie, she's in for the badminton.
Oh, badminton.
Young Mark, he's top seed in the table tennis.
Yes, well, I'm very sorry, sir, but there's nothing I can do about it.
Now, there's no point in being sorry now, is there? I mean, what about my wife's mobile hairdressing business? She's already got 3 perms and a set lined up for this morning. Can't let people down, can you?
Yes, sir, well, if you'd just like to make your way through to gate 29, sir.
Hey. You do realise you are talking to one of the judges of the Miss Stranded Passenger contest.
Yes, sir, well, if you don't want to go now, why don't you swap your tickets with someone else for a later flight?
Oh, yes, well, of course, that's easier said than done, eh? I mean, they've already seen the bill for Thursday.
The bill for Thursday?
Yes, the big show in hangar number 2. I wouldn't like to be in your shoes when my wife here, she's going to miss Engelbert Humperdinck and the Dallas Boys.
I take it you have checked in your luggage, sir?
We haven't got any luggage. We ain't brought any luggage for years.
Well, there's your flight, sir.
Is it really?
Yes, yes. You can buy all the luggage you need in Torremolinos, sir.
Can we?
Yes, it's just like home there, sir.
Is it?
Yes.
Hey, I'm glad you told me that.
Why?
We've never been abroad before.
Do you know, it's truly amazing to think that by the year 2000, man will be able to fly around the world in just 4 hours. That's 1 hour in the plane and 3 to get to the airport. Frankly, I'm somewhat dubious about the way, the speed we go at. Pilots are getting so cocksure about it all. I once flew from Manchester to London, and as we passed over Wolverhampton, the pilot did a loop-the-loop. He turned to me with a note of pride. He said, how was that for skill? He said, half the people on the ground thought we were going to have an accident. I said, half the people up here have just bloody well had one. We landed at London far too fast. In fact, you can tell how fast we landed. There was a nun next to me who found her rosary beads had jammed. But there's no denying that if you want to see the world, then the best way is to fly. And let's pay now a tribute to Sir Freddie Laker. It's thanks to him that the ordinary man in the street can have breakfast in London and be in New York just in time to belch. Flight 417, en route from London to Gibraltar. There we are, London. Left London at 9 a.m. in the morning, en route for Gibraltar. And arrived safe and sound at 2:15 p.m. And that's not bad. The only trouble is it landed in Bucharest. Because of the French air traffic controllers' strike. There, Flight 471 refuels and takes off again for Gibraltar. Unfortunately, Spanish air control talks them in much too low over Gibraltar, and they have to turn back due to turbulence and monkeys on the windscreen. Which now means an emergency landing in Tripoli before flying back to Bucharest for the luggage. By now, the crew have worked well in excess of regulation hours, and the pilot is so tired he has to pull into the side at Baghdad. Which turns out to be a sort of Biggin Hill in malaria. After a pleasant stay, which included a guided tour and a yashmak wholesalers and an ugly incident with an effeminate sheik, Flight 471 leaves Baghdad for Cairo, but is buzzed by Israeli fighters so that it has to make a forced landing on a bingo hall in Mecca. Oh, isn't this fun? Flight 471 then sets off for Gibraltar, the long way round to avoid the war in the Middle East, passing through Aden before touching down in the Khyber Pass, which proves to be a mistake, due to the fact that there's no airport there. Rented elephants transport the wreckage and passengers of Flight 471 as far as Muscat, where the plane is thoroughly rebosticed. We'll take it off again to the air. Unfortunately, it's unable to refuel at Bombay as planned on account of the airport having been flooded by Vindaloo curry. So it turns back to Muscat, but develops minor engine trouble, and so makes a brief, unscheduled stop in the Indian Ocean. I should never have had that salad. 3 weeks and 16 cases of scurvy later, not to mention mutiny, that inflatable raft arrives in Calcutta. Do you know, you can stand here some days and never see a soul. Where airline officials claim it was all an act of God and compensate the survivors with seats on a new plane and the name of a good psychiatrist. Flight 471-A is then driven by monsoons from Singapore to Hong Kong to Shanghai and on to Japan, where the passengers enjoy a wonderful aerial view of that quaint Japanese ritual called burning down the new Tokyo airport. The pilot heads back for Shanghai, but sensationally, the plane is hijacked by a desperate men who claim to represent a much suppressed minority group, the passengers. They tell the pilot to head for Gibraltar, and with his vast experience, the pilot, Paddy O'Flynn, makes a calculated guess and lands in Darwin, Australia. A nightmarish route such as this spells tragedy. It spells immense human anguish. And above all, it spells coffee. Very good. All this suffering because of mankind's conceit, his vain, tinsel aspirations to conquer the skies. And all he does is pollute them. We polluted everything. The North Sea is now so full of pollution, atheists can walk on water. So now you've decided not to travel by air. You'll just go up to London for the day. You can't get lost there, can you? What a bet. Just look at this. See that? No, it's not an X-ray of a dung beetle's saliva gland. That's a map of the London Underground. Because we all live today like moles. Some of these undergrounds now are so deep, they don't use mouse traps, they put down wallaby snares. What What effect does this have on a red-blooded male? Every time he walks up and down, or he rides on that escalator up and down, he sees all those erotic adverts. Ooh. What sort of things are waiting? Knickers, silken hose, suspenders. And some of the women's clothes are just as bad. Once you're in those catacombs, all sort of things await you down there. Take this case.
And if you would kindly pay at the point of entry in future, sir? It's a criminal offence to travel without having previously obtained a ticket or the relevant authority.
I'm very sorry. You see, I've never travelled on the Underground before. I thought it was like a bus. You just wait for the conductor to come round.
It's people like you lose us 30 millions a year.
I can't think how you lose 30 millions if you chase people for 15p.
There's a lot of your type about, sir.
Yes, it really is my first time on this tube thing, you know. Well, all right. It isn't. Some of you probably have seen me before in the mornings. Yes. But I did have a ticket. Only it must have dropped out of my pocket. Of course, I couldn't tell him that. Oh, it's not the sort of thing his type would believe. Hole in your pocket, he'd have said, yes, try the other one. But it's true. Look, there's a hole. There's a big hole here. Look, there's the hole. There, see? Oh. Oh, the wife must have sewn it up. It's a sneaky thing to do. I remember now. Yes, of course, I didn't have a ticket. No, there was a bit of a queue, so I put my money in the machine, and no ticket came out. But I have paid. Yes. All right, damn you. I wasn't going to pay at all. I was going to sneak off. You see, you can do it at Oxford Circus if you know the place, but I was late. You see, I've got this appointment for a job, and my poor old mother would never forgive me if I was late. I mean, would you lose a job for 15p? And who am I paying anyway? A nationalised industry. Who owns a nationalised industry? I do. I'd just be cheating myself. Well, only an idiot would cheat himself. Can you condemn an idiot? Can any of you put your hand on your heart and say, I am honest, huh? Oh, what is honesty? Wasn't it Socrates who said it was the best policy, or was it Reg Prentice? Anyway, are they right? Oh, yes, all right, I cheated for 15p, but this is the kind of persecution that drives sane men to ride around on Hondas. And I am fighting for freedom! Your freedom! Yes, for a better world, where a man can be his own boss, do his own thing, go where he pleases, and the 74 bus comes every 3 minutes on the dot, and I am putting it to you! The society is guilty and I am innocent! What is your verdict, huh? All right, I'm guilty, I'll give myself up, please, Inspector, forgive me! Forgive me!
Dite lefto su altro bossinet, los in the butelli.
Mon Dieu, mais je ne sais pas ce qui se
There's no doubt about it, the car is the most convenient way of getting around. Well, it would be if everybody else wasn't doing the same as well. And there's some marvellous cars on the road. There's a new expensive Japanese car now called a Rolls-Royce. This car is so fast it doesn't have a radiator, it's got a pedestrian strainer. I don't drive anymore now the wife's passed a test. I'm not saying she's a bad driver, but when she goes on a main road, the cat's eyes squint. Last week she went through 15 red lights. She said, do you think I should have stopped? I said, no, you potted the reds, now go for the colours. To all of you who own a car, I'd like to pass on some useful tips when you break down. For instance, I broke down last week on the North Circular, and a garage charged me £10 just to tow me 5 miles. But don't you worry. I got my money's worth. I made them work for it. All the time they were towing me, I kept my brakes on. Now, if you can't get help on the road, you've got to go to a garage, and there you will meet yet another one of them, the garage overlord. The very expression is enough to make your pound notes curl at the edges. He's the man with the golden grease gun. He's so crooked they have to screw him into his overalls. That's him on the left, the one disguised as a human being.
The problem, sir? Well, it just keeps stopping, you see. Right, Gov. You get in, start the engine up, we'll have a look. Lift up the bonnet.
The extent of the trouble is a bit of dirt in the carburettor, causing the engine to misfire. Now, the garage owner's guessed this already and would probably sort it out in about 2 minutes and only charge him a tenner, but...
See anything? Yes, your engine appears to be missing. Well, it was there when I set out.
Well, that should do the trick. Now that he's cottoned onto the fact that our friend the motorist knows less about the workings of the internal combustion engine than my mother-in-law knows about being feminine. Yes. Observe the effect that this one naive statement has had on the garage owner, whose face immediately takes on the appearance of a stoat dreaming of a rabbit casserole. Note the eyes. Any moment now they'll start whirring around and 2 lemons will come up. But the worst is yet to come.
Sounds as if you need a new gearbox to me. Well, you better put one in then.
You want to see the lemons come up now?
Of course, the engine will have to come out. Probably mean a rebore and a new back axle.
You've seen enough? That man should be horsewhipped or exiled to Slough. Yes, I can be cruel. Mind you, you might say to yourself that the motorist shouldn't be so ignorant, that he should learn a bit about cars himself. But what does the average man in the street really know about the complexities of the modern motor car?
Excuse me, sir.
Manufacturer. Oh.
I'm asking the average man in the street what he knows about...
I say, you're not Esther Ranson, are you?
No, I'm afraid I'm not.
Oh, what a pity. I've got great admiration for her, you know. I'm so impressed by her intelligence. The way she rails against the bureaucrats and the establishment. The way she takes up the sword in defence of the little man. Apart from that, you know, not many people know that she's got a great pair of knuckles.
Well, I'm sorry I'm not Esther Ranson, but I would like to know what you know about coupling rods, distributor shafts and big ends. And cams.
Ooh, coming knickers.
And rear chassis.
Rear chassis, bounce up and down. Ooh, boom, jelly on the plate. Come here. No, don't leave me.
Sorry about that. Meanwhile, our poor car owner is still suffering until along comes the kind neighbour who takes him aside and says, "Oh, no, fellow, do your car cheap. Very good. Only round the corner. Mum's the word." Oh, dear, oh, dear.
Oh, that's typical, that. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Stebbings, my name.
Is it really? Oh.
Yeah, I rang this morning.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, Dennis Yap gave me your name.
Yap.
Said you were an expert. Would you like to listen to the knocking, please?
Oh, yes. Yes. Let's have a shufty at the doings.
What, the differential?
No, the works.
The engine?
Yes, engine, yes.
Yes, the engine is at the front.
On this model? Yes. Right, let's have the lid.
Right, I'll just release the bonnet.
No, come here, look, trade secret.
No, don't.
There, oh, heck, impossible.
Eh, why?
Well, Stan's off sick, you see, and Stan holds the lid while I do the doings. So without Stan, I've no facilities.
No, you use this prop thing, you see, it's specially fitted.
Oh, no, look, don't let Stan see that. Oh, if every car had one of them, he'd be out of a job.
Do you think it could be the carburettor?
It's got a carburettor as well. Oh, they're more trouble than they're worth, you know.
Hey, are you sure? Look, it was only MOT'd the other day.
Really? It's come up lovely. What colour was it before?
Look, aren't you going to look at the engine?
No, you see, it's a foreign car, and what's wrong sticks out a mile. You've got a metric knock. I'm a snookered, you see, because I've not got a metric hammer.
All right. No, I thought you were supposed to be an expert.
Look,
I mean, you can't
get aerated. I've got the cure. There you are.
What's this?
Stereo. Turn it up loud, you'll never hear the knocking. You want easy terms?
Oh, yeah.
But transport is, of course, something that you can't avoid coming into contact with unless you're a porter with British Rail. If you want to go on holiday, for instance, you're entirely dependent on it. Fortunately, I can help you here, being something of an expert on holiday transport. Not many people know that I was conceived on the back seat of a charabanc halfway through Blackpool Illuminations. Which is one of the reasons why I'm so bright. However, not even I can solve everybody's problems.
So, you haven't decided where you're going for your holidays then next year?
We've had a look through some brochures.
Of course, Leonard and I went to Greece last year.
No, Bert and I have been to Greece with Wallace Arnold's Sun-Kissed Package Holiday Intercontinental Tours.
Oh, really? Did you have the shish kebabs?
From the moment we arrived. All down that side.
Did you see the Acropolis?
See it? We were never off it. Our Bert were bent double. He's not been right for years, you know. There's no Vaseline over there, you know. Rough it. Mind you, my Bert's a very bad traveller, you know. He gets very bilious.
Yeah.
I mean, the slightest rocking motion, and it makes him ill. That's why we've never had so many children. We would have liked to have had.
You know, there are times, Ada, when you are so pig ignorant it hurts.
Thank you very much indeed.
Really
That's very
does.
nice.
Why don't you get him to travel by train? I mean, that way he could stand up through the whole journey.
Well, it's fine in theory, but you know he likes to drink, don't he?
Oh, yes.
I mean, he's always... I'd never get him away from the Buffy bar. The other night, he was 5 minutes late for opening time at the pub and brewery shares slumped.
You've only got yourself to blame. I mean, you
fool.
shouldn't let him out so often.
Been a
I mean, if
fool.
he's not up to scratch, you want to put him on a proper balanced diet,
Do you
you know.
think so?
So, yes, lots of protein.
Protein?
Good, wholesome soups. Does he like cockaliki?
Well, he used to do, but he's past it now.
Well, I mean, it's your own fault. You're too soft with him. I mean, let's face it, you never get out.
Don't.
I know. I mean, the kitchen window is your world. Why don't you get him to fly? I mean, that way it will be quicker.
My Bert will never fly. He's always stoutly maintained that if God intended man to fly, he would have given him feathers. No, he's quite happy as just pottering about the house, and, you know, he's got a small holding.
I had heard.
Well, he's got his little vegetable plot and his greenhouse, and he cross-germinates dwarf gladioli.
Oh, very nice.
And he breeds goats.
I thought they did it for themselves.
Well, I mean, if you're going to be facetious, there's no point in carrying this on, is there? Actually, I didn't like the goat at first, but it's a nice little thing. The only trouble is it doesn't seem capable of doing it. Well, it's not actually mated.
No, it's not done it, no.
It's not to perform.
No.
Anyway, the vet gave Bert some tablets to arouse the goat's virility.
Oh. What are they like?
I don't know, but Bert said this tastes of peppermint. Well, he's always been good that way, there's nothing else he can do. God knows.
The alien powers have us fettered, fretful and frustrated. Nothing goes right for the long-suffering traveller. Some members of the audience I see are smiling at all this because they arrived at the studio tonight in a brand-new air-conditioned coach. They're all right. What could possibly go wrong, they ask themselves. Well, the transport is fine, but they've overlooked the human element. Take a long look at your driver at the back.
Right, you lot from the Evening Star, let's get you back there. I've had 6 points instead of the usual 3, so I'll get you back in half the time.
From Dawson Control, good night. And we hope to see you again. Until then, Dawsoning watching. From Dawson Control, this is the end. Did you know that when a damp ferret runs up a druid's truss in Hammersmith, any dwarf is entitled to free milk? No, of course you didn't. Those are some of the questions that have been suppressed from the public by the aliens from another world. And tonight, and on all future programmes they will be answered. But we must be careful. They are everywhere, watching us. And as the cosmic web of evil draws its net of frustration tighter around our loins, knotting our tripes in a veritable vice-like grip. No, I'm not talking about Hong Kong underpants. Tonight, our probing spotlight bears down on the machinations of them and the other aspects of the evil that is surrounding us. But take heart, fellow Britons. Dawson Control, from the heart of television's heavily mortgaged centre, is go. I won't pay it, the kid's 15. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight our subject is money. The sins of mankind, greed, avarice, envy, desire, and Max Bygrave's LPs. Are mere aspects of the central evil, which is money. Money. The aliens invented it in order to enslave us all in the grip of materialism. Money. An awesome requirement that sends our blood pressure up and down quicker than a call girl's tights. Politicians use the word money as a guide to the better life when they want votes. The communist says one for all and all for one. In other words, if he's got out, he'll share it with you. The socialist wants to get rid of the idle rich, and they've succeeded. Now we've got the idle poor. The Conservative would like to generate more money by the sweat of your brow, and the Liberal says, I hope to God I don't lose my deposit. When you think back to when you were born, you know nothing of money. I mean, I came from a very poor family. Up to the age of 15, I thought knives and forks were jewellery. And yet, you know, Mummy always did her best to give me something nourishing to eat. I've known the times when she's taken the bones from her corsets to make a pan of soup. I can't forget those days. I never had any shoes. My father used to black my feet and lace my toes up. All the clothes we wore were cast-offs and hand-me-downs. Do you know something? I started work at 14 in a bib and romper suit and bowler hat. I always felt sorry for my sister. She got married in a pith helmet, truss and spats. I hated Christmas. The Christmas dinner was always the same, Peruvian woodcock. It was a black pudding with a feather stuck in it. Do you know, I can only remember being given one Christmas present by my father. It was a do-it-yourself electric train set. Turned out to be a roll of fuse wire and a platform ticket. Mind you, Dad didn't like me. He used to play some rotten tricks on me, like telling me for years the gas meter was a piggy bank. Once a month he used to take me to the country and make me run up and down all day across a certain stretch of the fields, which was exhilarating for me. I was 27 before I found it was the rifle range at Bisley. You know, I was starved of love and affection. The only people who picked me up and cuddled me were scientists. Or short-sighted poultry breeders. Mother used to look at me on the floor. She used to say to my father, I don't know what to make of our son. And my father used to say, have you thought of a rug? See, the problem was I came from a big family. In fact, there were so many wet nappies in the kitchen, there was a rainbow in the lobby. I said to my mother, I said, doesn't Dad use the rhythm method? She said, yes, he goes to bed with a fiddle. I only had one change in nappy. After 12 months, he used to hire me out to sit in allotments and force rhubarb. I mean, things could have been better, but my father was superstitious. He wouldn't work if there was a Friday in the week. So I never really knew much about money. Now, they say that money talks. Well, all it's ever said to me is goodbye. Do you know one of the reasons why none of us are any good with money? Well, I'll tell you. It's all part of the alien plot to make us reticent about money, as if it was sort of, well, a dirty subject. For instance, do you ever tell people how much you earn when they ask you? Of course you don't. You keep saying, oh, doing all right, keeping the wolf away from the door, making ends meet, getting by. Now, we may have good cause to be embarrassed about the poor state of the pound these days. In fact, we're so ashamed of it, on the new issue of banknotes, the Queen's wearing blinkers. But we've always treated the business of money matters as if it were, well, mucky. Now, last week, our hidden cameras were able to film this scene.
Oh, Rodney, lad. Come in. Sit down. I want to have a little talk to you.
Yes, Dad.
You see, I thought, well, your mother thought that now you're getting older, almost a man, as it were, that you and I ought to have a little talk about things that really, well, about...
I know, Dad. Cash.
Rodney, please. Your mother might hear. I will not have you using four-letter words like that in this house.
It's Anglo-Saxon.
I don't care what it is. It is Anglo-Saxon. Now, there's a time and place for it. I'm sorry, lad. Yes, I do want to have a talk with you about the facts of money. I expect you lads at school call it...
Cash.
Cash, yes.
Yes, Dad.
I expect you tell jokes about it too, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Have you heard this one? This gorilla goes into a bank and asks to change $100 into pounds. And the man thinks, huh, it's only a stupid gorilla, so he only gives him £20. And then he says, funny, we don't get many gorillas in here. And the gorilla says,
at $5 to the pound, I'm not surprised. Yes, we used to whisper things like that when I was at school. But you know, there's more to money than a few dirty jokes.
I suppose so.
I imagine you've experimented a little, tried to make money on your own.
Well,
don't worry, lad, don't worry. Everyone does. Nothing to be ashamed of.
I heard that if you did it too much, you went broke.
Nonsense. Who told you that?
The economics teacher at school. He said they're going to show a film about it.
Oh, I wish these teachers would leave this sort of thing to us parents. You see, to some, money can be, well, sort of sordid. But believe me, when two people come together to make money together, two people who really need it, then it becomes something fine and beautiful and worthwhile.
Dad, do you and Mother, I mean, do you actually...
Oh, yes. We make money together, of course we do, yes.
Still?
Oh, yes. Takes a bit longer now, of course. But it's all quite natural and normal, you know. Of course, some people aren't normal about money. Now, you want to steer clear of them, son.
Which people, Dad? What do they do?
Well, they'll come up to you and suggest that you give them some of your money, and a little later you'll feel better, and then you'll get your money back, and so on. Well, they can't help it, they're sick. Something wrong in their makeup.
Who are these people, Dad?
They call themselves double glazing salesmen. Now, you be careful of them. OK, lad, off you go.
Thanks, Dad. But actually, there was something I wanted to tell you.
Oh, yeah?
Well, you see, I've got a girl into trouble.
You've got a girl into trouble? Well done, lad, well done. You're first, is it? Oh, you're one of mine, all right. Congratulations. Yes, well.
But money is a complicated affair, and when in doubt, we turn to the experts. Tonight, we're very fortunate to have with us Professor Max Hedrew, and he's joining us now from the Birmingham studios. Oh, Professor, I wonder if you could help us. I'm something of an economic simpleton. Could you explain to all of us exactly what inflation really is?
Certainly. Inflation is a generalized socio-economic escalation, whereby the rate of industrial non-expansion is dragged together so that the money, and it gets sucked into a cash spiral. and the infra economy gets turned into a downturn.
Could you explain that in simple terms?
As a nation, we're knackered.
Well, that was his opinion, but what do the gnomes of Zurich think of the British economy? Now, we have a direct link tonight to Geneva, and I'm about to ask the famous economist, Dr. Manfred Schmidt, what he thinks is wrong with the British economy. Wie geht's, Europa? Willkommen mit dem Programm. Was ist los mit der Ekonomika de England? Bloody squarehead. They lost twice, they seem to forget that. I don't care what they think, this country's still the best country in the world till if it's the safest. If there's ever a third world war, the Russians will never invade us. They can't, there's nowhere to park. Anyway, as far as I'm concerned, all this money business is about as clear as Navy's tea. And I don't think we're skint, not quite. Even on this programme, we've still got a few quid left. But where we get it from is none of your flaming business. If you're in Water Street tonight about 10 o'clock, what a performer. Anyway, the Mint makes 100 of these pound notes every minute. That's slightly more than a miner on overtime. Where are they all? More than 75% are stuck on nails in Arab lavatories. Another 20% are found in German Monopoly sets. And the rest, they belong to the makers of Desmond O'Connor's Dimple Cream. It's no wonder that the poor old pound is waning by the minute. People are losing interest, like me when the wife takes her teeth out. Start looking at a monsoon ditch. What a sight that is. You know, my wife is the only woman I know who can pull a bottom lip over her head and use it as a bathing cap. But give the Mint its due. It's now come up with something to replace the pound note. It's called the fiver. I can remember a time when a fiver was about as rare a sight as a pregnant nun. I think the value is still there. It's just that people don't shop properly. Now, for example, here is Nationwide's shopping basket for the week. Now, look at it. It's a betrayal in the art of practicing economy. Now, as a criterion of instance, here is Dawson's £5 basket, based on a sound economic footing. Let me show you what I mean. 1 loaf of bread, 17p, the staff of life. 1 half bottle of whiskey, £2.25. And it's a good one from Kilmarnock, from a cellar. 1 6-pack of beer, £1.20. 1 Havana cigar, hand-rubbed. 3 bottles of British wine, culled from the vineyards of East Acton. £1. Now, what does this add up to on our computer? How do they justify this cost of living? Well, never mind, we Britons are used to this. We'll tighten our belts, we'll get rid of the luxuries. Mind you, the state of the pound doesn't always depend necessarily on how the British economy is doing. It depends on how everybody thinks our economy is doing. The currency market today is as volatile as an Italian taxi driver and just about as insane. And it requires a special sort of person, cool and quick-witted enough to manipulate millions at the end of a telephone.
Been rather quiet so far, really.
Yes, very quiet. We haven't had a world economic crisis now for about 3/4 of an hour, isn't it?
I don't like it. It's unnatural. Must be at least 10 minutes since we had the last big run on the pound.
Big rush on the pound. Hello, Tokyo. Rumors of big rush on pound.
Sell sterling now!
Sell sterling now! Sell sterling!
Just sell it, don't argue about it, sell it!
Sell, no, sterling now. Sell sterling! Oh, no, I wish you'd learn to keep your voice down. That is the 3rd recession you've started this morning. Look what you have done to the pound.
Oh, gosh.
It's disastrous. 3 points down against the dollar, 5 against the Deutschmark, 7 against the franc?
But at least it's holding its own against the luncheon voucher.
Why did the Bank of England intervene?
The Bank of England have intervened.
Oh, my God. Must be really serious, then.
Hello, Tokyo. Situation so serious, Bank of England have intervened.
Look, calm down, will you, chaps? It's nothing, really, honestly.
Quick, read them these.
Listen, chaps. Britain's latest trade figures. Oh, great news. Exports are up. Productivity is up. You all know what this means. Stability. The government able to get on with its programme. Listen, chaps, listen, quiet a mo. Haven't finished yet. Imports are up, which means a loss of confidence in the city, which will probably lead to firm, middle-of-the-road legislation.
Hello, Tokyo. Britain in rut. Sell steel.
How's the pound doing now?
I don't know. It's gone so low, can't find it.
Oh, no. Oh, God. Oh, God, no.
What is it? What is it?
The wife's mother's coming for the weekend.
You idiot. You pushed the pound down 10 points.
Down 10 points?
It is essential we push the pound up again.
For economic reasons.
No. I'm going on holiday tomorrow. Got it. I hear the dollar isn't doing too well.
Hello, Tokyo. Reports of dollar not doing too well.
Brilliant. Start some speculation of our own, eh? That's it.
Right, watch this. I hear Carter is appearing on TV tonight.
Hello, Tokyo. Sell all dollars. Sell all dollars.
My turn. Chancellor Smith cited as correspondent in divorce suit by Mrs. Brezhnev.
Hello, Tokyo. Sell Deutschmarks.
Brilliant, brilliant. It's plummeting like a pranged Messerschmitt.
How are we doing? Has the pound improved?
No, not really. We've just dragged the Deutschmark and the dollar down to our level. Oh, well. Time for a quick bite before the afternoon slump.
Have you noticed, whatever happens, he always ends up smiling?
Hello, Tokyo. Good news for pound. British all at lunch.
What a terrible indictment of our culture. Do you know, if my father could see what was happening today, he'd turn over in his quicklime. Everything was so simple in his day. When one door's shut, another one's shut. Now everything's so complicated, the average man in the street can hardly be expected to know what's going on.
Excuse me, sir.
Well, I could explain everything, officer. I was looking for my ball. Oh.
I'm asking the average man in the street
I
about the
say,
people
you're
who
not
work in...
Angela Rippon, are you?
No, I'm afraid I'm not.
Oh, what a pity. I'm a great fan of hers. I think she's marvellous. The way she reads the news bulletins with such dignity and sophistication. Apart from that, she's got a lovely bum.
Yes, well, I'm sorry, it's Angela Rippon. But I would like to know about what you know about the people who work in the stock exchange.
Stock exchange?
A bear, for instance.
Bear what?
Oh, bulls. Some of them are bulls. Yes, say, for instance, the Marks and Spencers were coming down.
Marks and Spencers coming down?
Yes.
You mean right down?
Yes, well, when they come down enough, then the bulls will rush in.
And I'll be at the head of them. I'll lead them. Ooh, have you any Marks and Spencers? Well, get them off.
I feel as though I know that fella. Now, here's an astonishing but true fact. Even in these modern times, there are people who don't know what money looks like. My wife doesn't, because it's never in her purse long enough. You won't believe this, but last month she actually complained that she couldn't manage the housekeeping on £5 a week. I didn't argue. I doubled it, now she gets £5 a fortnight. But you know, there are people who never touch cash. Instead, they use these things. Credit cards. Now, these things have dramatically improved the quality of life. In the old days, say you needed a new car battery. Now, if you couldn't afford it, you didn't have it. Now you just pay for it with your credit card, and 3 months later, when you can't pay your credit card account, they come round and repossess your car. There's no doubt about it that credit cards are now becoming universal. I went down to my local pub the other night. It's called Twiggy's Chest. Because the beer's flat and warm. All the lads in the vault were playing shove access. Now, of course... Not everyone is accustomed to credit cards, not yet. I dined out in a restaurant last night in Paddington called the Happy Diner. And the only card they didn't take was the Diners Club. But in general, cards are the thing. Yesterday I popped into the bank to see if they'd run out of red ink. And the manager came across and shook me warmly by the throat and asked me if I wanted a credit card. And I told him I wasn't going to have my life ruled by a nasty bit of plastic. And he said, well, in that case, I shouldn't have voted Conservative. But the truth is, these days, credit cards, those little oblongs of plastic, get you where you want to go. At least that's what we found.
Barclaycard?
No.
American Express?
No.
Diners Club?
No.
Access?
Ah, just the thing. See, access takes the loitering out of loitering with intent.
It is my considered opinion that when the aliens invented money, they knew it would create crime. But there is a way to stop the present crime wave. It's quite easy. All you do is nationalise it, and then it'll never pay for itself.
Right, stick 'em up.
Yes?
Stick 'em up.
Pardon?
Stick 'em up.
I can't hear.
Stick them up. Hand over the money.
Do you have a bank card?
No, this is a gun.
Perhaps a passport.
I want the money.
Yes, well, if you fill this form in, please.
What form?
It's a credit transfer.
Look, you don't seem to understand. I'm robbing the bank.
Oh, a direct debit.
Yeah, a direct and very much to the point debit.
Yes, yes. Is this likely to be a monthly arrangement? I mean, we provide a special service.
Oh, blimey. I mean, how many O-levels do you need to recognise a bank robbery when you see one? This is a gun.
Yes, it is, isn't it? All right, then. You know, you'd be well advised not to take the money away from here.
Eh?
Well, I mean, we could regard it as a loan, and you could earn about 22% on it. We'd only charge you 15.
I want to spend the money, don't I? In Copacabana.
Copacabana, that's Brazil, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, not a very good rate of exchange, I'm afraid. Still, you'll be wanting some traveller's checks. You're not a student, are you?
I'm beginning to think so.
No, you see, because you could have a plastic wallet, a clipboard, no bank charges, and a ream of foolscap.
What sort of a bloody bank is this that can't deal with a simple robbery?
Do you wish to complain to the manager?
No, I want the money.
Well, you certainly know your own mind, don't you?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of a career in banking?
No. Don't bother counting it.
I've got to account for this lot at the end of the day, you know.
Here, what are you throwing those out for?
They're torn.
Look, don't give a stuffed egg whether they're torn or not. I swear I'm going to use this gun, mate.
We have a shooting club at the bank ourselves, you know. All right, then.
Well, it's about time.
Can you manage that?
Yeah, right.
Just hold it right there.
Yeah, look. If I give it back.
You have a car?
Yeah, it's a Ford Cortina.
Is it fast?
Yeah.
Good. You drive.
Hey?
I'm sick of working in this dump. Come on, let's go.
Well, let's face it, what does wealth really mean? A man with £10 million in the bank is no happier than a man with only £6 million in the bank.
Very soon, my boy, all my paintings, all my property, and all my money will be yours.
No, no.
Yes, everything.
No, we'll leave something. We're not totally unreasonable.
Yes, that's another thing, income tax. I received a final demand last week. I'm not saying I owed a big amount, but on the front of the envelope was written Chapter 1. But the one who suffers most is the poor, harassed housewife.
Another week gone, you know, it's Thursday, I haven't got a penny in my purse.
Hey, well, who has? I mean, it's all this inflation, the cost of living. I mean, this money goes nowhere now.
Don't remind me. Do you know the only way I can make ends meet is by putting my two youngest in the same nappy? I mean, the price of everything is ridiculous. I got some fish the other week. A rainbow trout cost 75p, only had one gill. It was lay on my plate sucking the vinegar off my chips. And meat, that butcher's 2 loin chops. 56p. That's 12.5 shillings in the old money. Right.
Disgraceful. There's no living.
I just do not trust that butcher on the Crescent.
What, him with the bad breath and the acne?
That's the one.
Do you know, I don't know where he gets his meat from. He charged me £1.85p for a leg of lamb. He did. Do you know, it was so thin, I'm sure it was pinned to the skewer with sellotape.
Oh! Who is a monkey, that one? Oh. Well, I flicked cigarette shots in his empty scale once and it weighed 11 pounds. Do you know we bought a turkey off him last year?
Yeah.
When I plucked it, I found a shrapnel scar. Our Bert looked at one of his wings and we found somebody written underneath, Kilroy was here.
Well, you were a fool. I mean, you should have had a cape on.
With the money Bert gives me, I'm lucky to have a jumper on. It's all right for you, sissy. You've always done well for yourself. You married well when you married Leonard. I made a big mistake, and I know it when I married. He's always having to work my Bert. He's been on the dole so often now, the Labour Exchange have asked him to MC the staff dancing. My mother was right, I should never have married him. I can see her face to me dying day old. Keep your bowels open and trust in God's will. I can't cope anymore.
I'm sure your Bert has hidden facets.
Oh, he's a big lad, thank God. I mean, you can't live off that all your life, can you? More's the pity.
Hey, I saw your Bert coming out of the bookies the other day.
Oh, he's always got money for that, I'll tell you.
Yes.
Always got money for that.
I tell you what, I didn't like the look of him.
Well, I don't myself, but he's good to the kids. I've never told you this before, but I've always felt, well, since I've had my name.
Oh, that's very nice of you to say so.
Well, I don't know. You've done very well with Leonard.
Oh, well, I must say.
You've made a good marriage for yourself, but you seem to live so much better than we do. You always have dripping on a Friday.
Well, I must confess, we do have the odd little luxury, you know.
Do?
Yes, scampi and chips.
Oh, I've seen those tins of empty lusty soups outside in the dustbin. They're not cheap, are they?
No. Last week we had coq au vin.
Oh, we tried that once, but there was no room in our mini.
I don't know. I mean, your mind is on one level. I blame Bert for this, you know. You've never been the same since you married him. I haven't forgotten that wedding. I mean, you'd scarcely cut the cake before he was dragging you off upstairs. I didn't give you time to get your socks off.
Oh, I know. Now I've time to knit a bloody pair.
So there you have it. Another example of how we're being got at by them. But there is hope. Always remember, the one thing that money can't buy is extreme poverty. From Dawson Control, good night. Ashen-faced mourners hunched closer together as the grey fog embraced them in its clammy shroud. The wind howled like a lost soul in dire torment, and beyond the dark, brooding, rain-sodden hills, a demented dwarf strangled his pet raccoon. Well, that was the comedy, now for the show. This is the bastion of defence against the faceless ones, those who strive to topple mankind into a bog of confusion. No, I'm not talking about a nasty accident on Emmerdale Farm. I am talking about them who are out to destroy humanity. But be cheerful, Anglo-Saxons. Dawson is watching. This is Dawson Control, and it's all systems go. Mind you, it always is after a meal in the BBC canteen, which is popularly known as Heartburn Alley. I'm not saying the food's bad, but they set the mousetops with bicarbonate. I threw a dog a pork chop in there last week, and it spent the entire lunchtime in the corner with a paw down its throat. I'll say one thing for the place, though, it's spotless. You can eat off the floor. You have to do, the tables are filthy. It's my firm belief that the chef's been got at by them because they're everywhere. And tonight we'll look at another weapon that the aliens are using against us. An innocent-sounding title, leisure. Sounds nice, of course it does. But it's big business now. It's called the leisure industry. A plot to get your money and to see that you don't enjoy yourself. Here are some of the artifacts they employ. A funny hat. I repeat, a funny hat. And a dur-dur-dur. When you wear one of these, it's fun, fun, fun. There are many ways you can spend your leisure. You can go for long walks. The wife and I used to like to go on a tandem holiday to Scotland. The last time we went, I'll always remember it. We'd not been gone more than 15 miles, and I thought I'd gone deaf. I hadn't. The wife had fell off. I looked back as she was laying there, and she looked rather like a khaki-clad Ben Nevis. She waved a cheery hello, and two grouse stopped mating. And you've got to be careful you go on rambles. My mother-in-law went for a stroll the other night. She came back from the karate clinic lesson. She passed a dark alley, and a sex maniac jumped out and ignored her. I wasn't surprised, because the last time I saw a face like hers, the owner of it was being milked. To me, it's the alien evil that drives men to climb mountains as a relaxation. What could be more stupid? My brother-in-law was a well-known mountaineer, famous for once having been trapped 20,000 feet up the side of Mount Everest on a 2-inch ledge, carrying his lame mule team to safety on the back of a plasterer's hod through an avalanche. You and I would have panicked, but he didn't. He fell off. Of course, I came from a sporting family, of course. My father used to put the shop till we saw what he was putting it. I remember once in Devizes, a lorry full of pig iron got stuck in mud. They sent for me brother. He took his coat off, he put his shoulders to the wheel, and he heaved. And just like that, broke his collarbone. But my favourite pastime as a kid, as a youngster, was the cinema. Every Saturday morning, I used to queue up, go in with me dollop of ice cream, look at the bulging Flash Gordon's tights, and think to myself, so that's what they do with old egg boxes. But who goes to the cinema these days? These people do. And they're in for an evening that's about as stimulating intellectually as watching my wife take her teeth out of an apple. But of course, these days you don't go to a cinema, you go to the cinemas. That's several cinemas all lumped together to give you a greater chance of ending up seeing a film you didn't want to see in the first place. And they're so idiotic, the films today. In Studio One, there's a Certificate X drama about the sex life of a Polynesian transvestite and his love for a Swedish grandmother who goes to bed with a tape measure to see how long she slept. In Studio 2, there's a sex horror film about a scientist who turns a camel mauve by feeding it watercress from a bowler hat. And then he exposed himself on the M5 in front of a retired Dagenham girl piper who went bald in a cupboard. In Studio 3, a pygmy dentist is raped on a robot horse on top of the Empire State Building. He then crosses King Kong with a mouse and eats Wolverhampton. Let's be fair. Whatever happened to the films you could take your family to see? Today, everything is sex and nudity. In fact, they're even thinking of shaving Lassie.
Excuse me. Is this a cue for the stench of flesh?
Oh, yes, it is.
Oh, good. Is this the first time that you've seen it, then?
Yes.
It's very good.
So I've heard.
Yes. It's directed by Enrique von Passow-Bergstein Bonder, Jr.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, it was the last film he made before he died, you know. Of course, the most brilliant thing about this film is that you don't know until the very end that the butler did it.
Thank you.
Well, you get a clue, though. You get a clue in the shower scene, because he creeps up.
Listen, why should I have my evening's entertainment ruined by you just because you happen to have seen this film?
No, I haven't seen it. I was told all about it by someone in a queue. This gentleman here, as a matter of fact. Here, you tell him what you tell me.
Well, it was the last one he done before he died, you know.
There.
You see, his night out's already wrecked and the film hasn't even started yet. He's still got to get in, which isn't easy. Have you ever noticed what graceful, delicate nymphs cinemas employ to sell tickets? All of them cashiered out of the Harvey Smith School of Manners. This one's worse than most. In fact, her charm bracelet's just bitter.
Come on, I ain't got all night.
One for the stench of flesh, please.
£5, £4 or £3.
How much?
You heard.
Have you any seats cheaper than £3?
Yeah.
I'll have one of those, please.
£2.95.
Well, even though he's got the cheapest seats, he's certainly going to get a lot for his money. A good view, a ripped neck, and a permanent eye damage. Still, it could be worse. He could be choking to death in the smokers-only section. Needless to say, it's a sex film. It's either that or it's a documentary about asthmatic gymnasts. Look at his face. A study of mixed emotions. Nausea and disgust. Because, like most men, he's a romantic at heart. He's always regarded sex as something beautiful. Something to be shared between two people. He's never seen an ostrich in black leather before. The sex scenes are getting too loaded. It's getting so bad in my local cinema they started putting bromide in the ice lollies. That's one thing about television. You don't get nudity and sex on the box. But what does annoy me is today we seem to get people who seem to find it's the in thing to say that they never watch television. Let's see what you get.
Strange, this business in Africa. There's a program on telly about it last night.
Oh, really? Oh, we never watch the telly these days. Well, it's such a load of old rubbish, isn't it? And, of course, it's very unhealthy.
Well, we don't really watch it. We just turned it on for 2 minutes to make sure that it was still working.
Oh?
Anyway, there was this program about Africa with, what's his name? Robin Ray?
It was Robin Day.
That's right.
I thought you said you never watched it.
Oh, the children were watching it.
Oh. We don't let ours.
Oh, well, us neither. Normally, but it was to help them with the current affairs project at school. That's it. Now I remember.
Yes, well, you've got to watch it, you know. Before you know where you are, TV can take over your life.
Oh, that's so true. I mean, have you noticed how everywhere you go, the conversation seems to revolve round the telly? It's the same all over the country.
Oh, nationwide.
Never watch it.
Watch what?
Nationwide. Oh, it's some TV program, apparently.
Oh, is it? I wouldn't know. I prefer conversation. But the trouble is, television is killing the art of conversation. Well, I tell you one thing.
What's that?
What's that?
We shan't be watching it this evening.
Nor shall we. Probably a load of rubbish anyway. What rubbish is on tonight?
I don't know. I think it's some crucial football match or other.
Oh, not Liverpool versus Arsenal.
No, Leeds.
Oh. Well, I suppose it'll be the usual rubbish. No goals and not on till 11 o'clock.
10:30. I think I read somewhere.
Yes, well, we'd never get home in time. I mean, it's 10:25 already. We could only just make it.
Yes. Well, I think we better dash, you know, get an early night. Busy day tomorrow.
Yes, us too. I'm just thinking the same.
Yeah.
It's all got to work in the morning.
True.
Well, we'd better say goodbye to, what's his name?
Derek.
No, yes, Derek. Ah, Derek. Well, awfully sorry. Must be hitting the trail. Thank you very much, and a lovely party.
Yes, a lovely party.
Yeah, sorry to have to leave, Derek.
A force of circumstances.
Ah, well, that's life.
Never watch it.
Why all this prejudice against sitting down and just staring? Why does leisure have to be so busy? I look after myself. My idea of keeping fit is first thing in the morning, a simple up 1, 2, 3, down 1, 2, 3. Then the other island. There was a time when I thought nothing of running 5 miles before breakfast. I don't think so bloody much of it now. This modern idea foisted upon us by them is a direct threat to an age-old indigenous life form. This. A slow-moving, lovable, gentle creature who is rapidly dying out. It is, of course, the great British slob. He's distinguished by its characteristically dingy plumage, stained shirt, rounded abdomen, and stumpy legs. And above all, its distinctive call. The great British slob favours a dark, warm environment and is mainly nocturnal, on account of its habit of not getting up before tea time unless it has to. Once these docile beasts used to roam the ash-covered shag piles of Britain's front rooms in their thousands. They were as common as a Harold Wilson denial. But now they've become an endangered species, threatened and harassed by this new robust mutation that insists on keeping on the move. Yes, the greatly spotted next-door jogger, who constantly invades the slob's habitat to distress him with his distinctive ugly cry, which comes in 3 parts.
Come on, old boy, do the world a good.
Now, that's the first part.
Keeps you fit.
And that's the second part.
A heavenly body is a heavenly mind.
And that's the third part. When threatened like this, the slob adopts his own defence and tries to blend in with his surrounding. Little does he know that an even greater danger is lurking. The domestic nagger, or warbling spouse. The slob is really no match for this merciless predator. The slob is a shy, retiring creature who is afraid of noise, and whose diet is basically anything which isn't good for him. The aggressive spouse immediately attacks both his weaknesses. She's by far the more powerful of the 2 species, fleet of tongue and incredibly resilient, capable of going weeks without silence. Note the intimidating way she struts and squawks around the bemused slob until he is mesmerised into the timeless ritual of submission. Oh, dear. Eventually, he is forced from his lair, with his enemy's triumphant shrill song ringing in his ears.
And don't you come back in till you've done it.
There was a time when England was full of weighty, sluggish, warm-blooded mammals like him. But evolution is changing all that. The nimbler, faster, more dynamic species are taking over. And so we must say goodbye to these kings of the armchair forever. You see what I mean? Isn't it tragic? That's the real disappearing world. Never mind the fruit monkeys of Borneo. Why doesn't David Attenborough do something about saving that poor devil? Now, everyone's entitled to spend their spare time like they want to do. Now, take our typical man in the street. How's he spending his leisure time?
Excuse me, sir.
From the big mistake, officer. I'm nearly tying my shoelace. Oh.
I'm asking the average man in the street.
I'll say you're not Valerie Singlestein.
I'm afraid I'm not.
Oh, what a pity. I've great admiration for her. You know, she's such a forthright person, and she's so very good on the Tonight programme. She gives one so much pleasure. I'd love to
Yes, well, I'm sorry I'm not Valerie Singleton, but I would like to know what you know about ornithology.
How do you what?
Bird watching.
Bird watching? You mean watching birds?
For instance, do you like great tits? The larks in the meadow.
Oh, they go hand in hand.
Isn't that disgusting and yet admirable? Another pastime that the faceless ones are trying to foist on us, of course, is this, yoga. As the guardian of your interests, I decided to look more closely at this burgeoning phenomena, which is a good job because I always thought that the lotus position was something you did on the backseat of a sports car. According to this, yoga is the art of relaxing the body, thus enabling the brain to think more clearly. The most skilled exponents being the Grand Lamas of Tibet, which is a pity, really, as both being celibate and snowed in for 11 months every year, they've very little to think about. You want to buy one of these and take a gander at some of the postures they're suggesting you get yourself into. You'd have more success if you tried to poke half a pound of butter of a hedgehog with a red-hot needle. In my humble opinion, therefore, yoga can do you nothing but harm. But don't take my word for it.
Now we come to lesson number 8. Sit down, please. First, adopt the lotus position by placing your left foot on your right thigh and your right foot on your left thigh. Good. Now insert the left hand between the thigh and calf of the right leg and the right hand between the thigh and calf of the left leg. Excellent, excellent. Now place your forehead on the ground and take hold of your left foot with your right hand and give a sharp tug, thus locking all 4 of your limbs together. You are now locked in a position of total relaxation. Staying in this position for more than 1 minute can cause constriction of the spinal cortex and instantaneous death. So to unlock yourself from the position, simply remove your.
One down, 8 million to go. Relax for one single moment and they've got you. Have you been in a sports shop lately? They make Aladdin's cave look like a Scottish Oxfam shop. Every one of them's crammed to the ceiling with every conceivable thing that it's possible to do without. Let's take a simple example. Take, for instance, dominoes. Could anything be simpler? A set of dominoes, a beer-stained tabletop, and away you go. Unless, of course, you might prefer lightweight championship dominoes. Or a set autographed by the great Herbert Gilfillan. Or the modern executive's tungsten-tipped dominoes with a denim-covered carrying case. Now you can play dominoes anywhere in any company without being embarrassed by your equipment. In a millionaire's private jet plane, or in a 4-rail spit and sawdust bar. How about that, sir? Would that be a crowded bar, sir? Would sir be jostled and pushed by the various throngs in the pub? You're right, I would be, yes, yes. And what you need, sir, is the Acme suction trousers. Wonderful garment. These exclusive suction pads fix sirs sit upon firmly to the seat, so that any amount of jogging, pushing or shoving have no effect upon the domino arm. It stays as steady as a rock. A prototype of these trousers was worn by the great Herbert Gilfillan when he won the World Championship in Moody's Bar in the Strand on VE night. You'll take them? Excellent. Then may I also suggest the Gilfillan grip exerciser. 5 minutes a day gives a vice-like grip on the domino. The Gilfillan... What about the Gilfillan domino hat? A touch of colour in a dull world. I can't get no... The Alberto Rodriguez domino shoes are a must. And I can give you a reduction on those. It was only a runner-up. You can put all these in one great big domino bag and let the luck just rest there. Thank you, my dear. Wear the black tonight. Here we are. £75.33 for one game of dominoes. What is it all about? Whatever happened to those halcyon days when sports shops were run by honest men, ex-professional footballers who had to retire prematurely because they'd been kicked by Norman Hunter? How will I remember old Stan, who ran the local sports shop near me? A wizened, wrinkled 32-year-old who once played for Bradford Park Avenue. A team that was so bad, they were lucky to lose. Old Stan was a man who was forever talking about that never-to-be-forgotten day when Brian Clough stood on the pitch and never said a word. The bloody lie was old Stan. He's gone now. A last time's winged chariot caught up with old Stan and knocked him down in Fulham. I like to think that old Stan is up there in that great celestial penalty box in the sky, ripping the wings off the referee. What a carefree, innocent world that was. Nowadays, a sports personality can earn more by sponsoring a company's products. Tennis players with rackets, golfers with clubs, British heavyweights with a mattress.
So I says, get out, you great pansy, and bangs him one.
Incidentally, Kev, great game on Saturday. Fabulous. God, if Gordon McQueen is worth 500,000, what are you worth?
Nice of you to say so.
I mean it. I mean it, Kev. You are the finest centre-forward in the country for my money.
Thanks.
And, my money is £5,000. That's right, Kev. 5 grand, that's what my firm are prepared to pay you if you will recommend our apparel.
Well, I'd like to, of course, but everything's pretty well tied up, you see. Dega pay me to wear their sweaters, Jacks their trousers, Lush Guppies their shoes. I can't think of anything I don't already recommend. Shirts, hats, ties, vests. What's that?
A truss.
What is it all about? Because my idea of leisure is going out for a good meal with companions and chatting about this and that. Mostly that. Thank God that for some people, the art of conversation is not dead.
So, who went out on her own last night without her husband then?
By God, Sissy, you don't miss much from behind those mail-order tules, do you? Hey? If you must know, I was putting an organdy flounce in our Miriam's frock. She's a runner-up for Miss Runcorn. And Bert went out to put some manure on his allotment.
Yes, I think half the street knew about that. Rushing up and down shouting that word manure. I mean, it's so common. Why don't you get him to say fertiliser?
Fertiliser? It took me 10 years to get him to say manure. Anyway, I was on my own. I just had a cup of Sinatra and a Garibaldi. I thought I'll treat myself, so I went to the pictures on my own.
Oh?
Do you know, I don't know what's coming over modern life today, but I had to change my seat 3 times in the pictures because of men.
No. Were you interfered with?
Eventually. I say a chance would be a fine thing.
Hey, do you remember when we were single and we used to go to the Roxy with those Australian soldiers?
Oh, don't remind me, eh? Randy buggers.
Weren't they just?
Bless them. Didn't you keep in touch with them just after the war?
Oh, of course I did. I'd have been a fool not to. They called him Big John.
Adelaide, that
yes,
was
oh, mind you, it was a very tragic business, all that.
Why, what happened?
Well, after he got demobbed, you know, he went to Africa.
Oh.
Yes, and it was during those Mau Mau uprisings, you see. Yes, he got caught and hung by the Katangas.
Terrible way to go. Must have brought tears to his eyes.
Yes, mind you, he was a wonderful man, you know.
He was a fine-looking fella.
He was.
With his billabong.
Oh. He was very fond of animals, you know.
Was he?
Oh, he loved animals, yes. Did you ever see his wallaby?
I never really got that close.
Anyway, there were happy days. It's all water under the bridge now.
Time flies in not enough years. It just flies, don't it?
Here, I know what I meant to tell you. Last Tuesday night, Len and I went out for a meal.
Oh, I saw you with your CNA frock and your blue rims. How did you?
Yes, we went to the hunting lodge.
Oh, that place behind the brickwork?
Yes.
Very expensive, isn't it?
Oh, yes, but worth every penny.
Oh, very nice.
Yes, we started off, we had consommé Saint Juliet, followed by roast pheasant.
Oh.
And pineapple chunks.
Very nice. You didn't bother with soup, then? What else? He gave me a book by a gourmet, and they mentioned pheasant in it. And I thought I would love to do it from Bert when he comes in from shifts. You know, he's on the wall of death as a mechanic. I thought he'd really enjoy that as a sort of snack, but I heard somewhere, man, this might have got the story wrong, but I was told that you couldn't eat pheasant unless it stinks. You have to stink.
Honestly, did you have to be so crass?
I'm only asking your opinion, that's all.
Stink, indeed. There's no stink about it.
I didn't know that.
A pheasant must be hung until it smells gamey, you see.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. The secret of a good pheasant, you must have one that's well hung.
Fancy.
I know what I meant to tell you. Do you remember Harry Hargreaves?
Oh, the little bald fella, stiff little man.
That's him.
Married Miriam out of the Quark.
That's him.
The bacon counter.
That's her.
When she got divorced, she lived in that little house that
That's
was
right.
condemned, number 42.
That's right, she had to boil every drop of water.
Oh, it was a terrible mess.
Oh.
She was full of blue unction.
Oh,
she had nothing but trouble with her legs, you know. They were strapped up for weeks.
Spent a fortune on embrocation.
Oh, did she really?
Yes.
Fiery Jack, you can smell it in the street.
Oh, well, anyway. I was having a cup of tea and an open sandwich in Lewis's.
Oh, I believe it's marvellous there now, isn't
yes.
it? Fresh tomatoes, aren't they? English tomatoes.
Well, I mean, they had to do something, you know, after that terrible trouble when they found that mucky bandage in a cream hole.
Oh, the monkey.
Oh, yes. Well, anyway, they told me that after jogging in the park, Harry Hargreaves was taken home with a hiatus hernia.
Well, that's funny. He always went home on a motorbike. Oh, Dr. Sir, I'm only asking your opinion. You make me sick. You call yourself a friend of the neighbours. Well, that was leisure as invented by the faceless ones. Not my cup of tea. I believe in moderation in all things. For instance, I'm not a hard drinker. I find it easy. True, I only smoke between meals. Yesterday I had 42 dinners. But every artery is as solid as rock, because here in Dawson Control, we've devised our own form of relaxation. And so, may I say to you all, good night. In 1901, a belt of rain swept across the Isthmus of Java and sucked a pygmy down a culvert. In 1954, snow fell in Russia, blocked all the roads to Murmansk and froze a farmer in the Urals. During the American Civil War at Gettysburg, it was so foggy, a troop of Confederates tried to whistle Dixie and couldn't find the lips. You may ask yourself, what has this got to do with the show? The answer is nothing. It's just that the producer said to me, if you've got nothing funny to say, for God's sake, talk about the weather. Because thanks to them, the faceless ones, the aliens, nothing's funny anymore in Britain. But take heart, because Dawson is watching.
Good evening, culture hunters. Tonight we expose the most fiendish device ever used by the aliens to enslave mankind, to manipulate him, puppet fashion, until he becomes agitated as Miss Piggy in a male sauna bath. Here are some examples of the subjects under discussion this evening. Wear the boots tonight. Arm skirt Tuesday. A woman motorist involved in an accident on the motorway. When asked what gear she was in at the time of the crash, replied, skirt, blouse and a green hat. Thank you, dear. Just stay as lovely as you are. From Arbroath, a piebald pony breeder accused of indecent assault in a laundrette shouted in court, as God is my judge, I'm innocent. To which the judge replied, he isn't, I am, you're not. You're new, aren't you? It's going to be fun. There was an ugly incident last week in Bournemouth when an insane wren threw domestos over a clergyman. She was remanded and charged with the bleach of the priest. My son gave me that gag. I'll kill him when I get home. By now you've guessed what the subject is. Of course, the most potent weapon in the arsenal of the faceless ones, law. We live in a democracy, which means we are free to do what we like as long as we do what we're told. Law has always been foisted on us. Moses came down the mountain with the tablets. The Pope wouldn't let him have the pill. Whatever you want to do, there's a law to stop you, and I know what I'm talking about because for the first time I can now reveal a very carefully guarded secret kept in the archives of Whitehall. You see, I used to be in the Secret Service when bonds were at a premium. I was known as 003, which meant licence to strangle hernias. Every Christmas I worked in the Bank of England. I was a mint spy. In my time as an agent, I've been stabbed, poisoned, beaten up, and then the wife went back to her mother. One day I was still in my office, the curtains were drawn, but the rest of the furniture was real. That's the sort of joke that killed variety. I was sat there one day, I just mixed myself a card table cocktail. They're very potent. You only need two and your legs fold, don't you? Suddenly there was a tap on the door. I thought I must have a word with that plumber. A letter was shoved under the door. It brought tears to my eyes. It was written on an onion. Just then my ears began to ring, so I answered them. It was from an agent in Spain called O.O. Antonio. He was on his own, he had B.O., you know. In all the cases I've sold, perhaps the most baffling was the case of the mysterious applause in the burial chamber. That became known as Who Crept in the Crypt, Clapped and Crept Out Again. Oh, well, it's back to Anglia. If I ever say that wrong, this place will be a barn in the morning. Up to our knees in complaints. And that's another aspect of law, of course, is complaints. A couple of weeks ago, I went into the Savoy to get an estimate for a gin and tonic. And there was a little man in the Savoy Grill in the inner sanctum there with a flat cap and a whippet under his arm. They said to their Wedge, hey, come here, pal. Come here. The head waiter drifted over rather like a bank of fog. It's what the devil's the matter with you, idiotic northern cretin? You product of industrial waste. How dare you talk to me like that? Hey, shall I can't eat the soup? Didn't you realise you're in the Savoy? This is the very hallowed sanctum of the gourmet. People wax eulogies over our turkey vol au vents. And you pathetic cretin, you sit there and you have the audacity to criticise the soup. Now, before I pitch you out neck and crop into the gutter from whence you sprang, why can't you eat the soup? You said, I haven't got a spoon. He should, of course, have complained about his treatment. But then again, have you ever tried to complain lately? Despite the Sale of Goods Act, when we try to return any faulty goods to a shop, we gear ourselves for a long, drawn-out struggle to the death. A struggle which would make the Battle of Culloden look like a loving at Mothercare.
I've got a complaint. This percolator hasn't worked properly since I bought it. Nearly granulated the wife's hand yesterday. Now, what do you propose doing about it?
I'll take it back, sir, and refund your money.
Yes, exactly what I expected. What did you say?
I said I'll refund your money in full, sir.
Now, hang on. Now, just a minute. What's going on here? I mean, you'll refund my money. Now, come on, what's the catch?
Well, no catch, sir.
Oh, yes, I get it. Good Lord, you must think I was born yesterday.
Sorry?
Well, it's obvious, isn't it? I mean, I give you back the percolator, you put it in the box and deny I ever bought it off you.
Well, if it'll make you any happier, sir, I'll give you the money first. There you are. £21. Now, if you're just...
£21? It only cost me 20.
£1 for your trouble, sir.
Hang on. Now, just a minute. What's so special about this percolator, eh? I mean, you seem very keen to get your hands on it.
It's just that we like to give complete customer satisfaction, sir.
You're in trouble with Esther Ranson, aren't you?
No, really. We're just trying to be helpful.
This is worth something, isn't it?
Only the £20.
Oh, no, you sold me this by mistake, haven't you, eh? There's something special about this, isn't there, eh? Tedomatic.
Sir, Tedomatic is the name of the manufacturer. We'll get them to write you a formal apology if you wish.
Now, look, I've had enough of this. I mean, it's not good enough. I came in good faith, you know, and what do? I mean, you serve me immediately. I mean, you smile, and you serve me immediately. You're incredibly polite. You offer me my money back and an apology. I demand to see the manager.
Of course, sir. Mr. Dawkins?
Ah, you're the manager, are you?
Yes, sir. Something wrong?
Yes, this percolator.
Oh, no problem, sir. We replace it or refund your money, whichever you like.
Now, come off it. Look, I've had all that off her. Look, I'm not falling for it.
Oh, please, sir, I insist.
Oh, no, you've really blown it. Now, I get the picture. Must be worth a mint, this.
Where are you going, sir?
I'm taking my percolator to Sotheby's to get it valued.
You're right, Mr. Dawkins. It is a better way of getting rid of them.
On then to those whose job it is to wage war on crime. As you can see, alert, intelligent, sound in body and limb, keen of eye, but above all, supremely confident that no matter what danger should present itself, he'll be able to cope. So much for the dog. I'll get a ticket as soon as I leave here tonight. Now to the policeman, who has to be at least 5 foot 10 inches tall, thus ensuring that if you get stood behind him at a football match, you won't be able to see a damn thing. Note the extra large feet. They can kickstart Boeings. But they afford him perfect balance when stood in doorways having a crafty woodbine. Note the walkie-talkie, which gives him radio contact with HQ when he gets lost. Everyone says what a grand job they're doing, but here Dawson begs to differ. For instance, they have one of them guarding the entrance to number 10 Downing Street for 24 hours a day, and still Jim Callaghan manages to get out. A further example of why I think the standard of our custodians of the law leaves a lot to be desired is this famous incident. The case of the Bobby's helmet. When on apprehending a streaker, the only thing these bride upholders of the law could think of was to give him a urine test. But I must say, though, in all fairness, they were fantastic with me, though, about 2 years ago, when we lost the mother-in-law in North Shields. It took them 3 days to search South Shields. Mind you, like everyone else, the police today are short-staffed.
Officer, my car's been stolen.
Oh, yes, sir. And where was the vehicle parked?
Outside my office.
And where exactly is your office, sir?
Oh, down the high street to Smethwick and Fogg, the accountants. I was just glancing out of the window...
Nice work in there, is it?
Sorry?
Smethwick and Fogg's good firm, is it?
Yes, very good. Now, as I was
Taking on many people this time of year?
Yes, there is the odd vacancy. Now, the registration number is BXL417T. It's a
T registration, eh?
That's correct.
So the pay isn't bad, then?
No, it's excellent.
Food good, is it?
I was talking to Mr. Trevitt, and I glanced out of the window.
Of course, we get the same stuff as the prisoners, you know.
And it was gone, and it's the firm's car.
You'd need qualifications, I suppose.
What, for car stealing?
For accountancy, yes. You'd need O-levels, pity.
Do you think you'll be able to find it?
Oh, just leave it with us, sir.
Well, and aren't you going to radio the station?
Could do, be nobody there, though.
Nobody there?
No, they've all left on account of the wages. You could leave a message with the cleaner. Somebody might pop in later. You never know your luck.
Well, I mean, whatever happened to Z Victor 1, Wilco and out, 10-4, roadblocks?
Oh, things of the past, sir.
Well, you might at least blow your whistle.
Well, there's no point. The nearest constable's 70 miles away. Could ring him up long distance and whistle down the phone.
70 miles away? Well, this is terrible. It's not safe to walk the streets.
You don't have to tell me, sir. Why do you think I'm standing in this doorway? If I was you, I'd step in here with me. The comprehensive turns out in 5 minutes.
So even though we have laws to protect us, in practice they're about as much use to us as a chocolate teapot. In fact, as far as I can see, the only reason we have laws in the first place is so that lawyers won't have to work for a living. In this country, lawyers are split into 2 types, solicitors and barristers, which are 2 ways of getting money out of you. Now, a solicitor is someone who spent 6 years at college learning how to put long words in threatening letters. He's a sort of blackmailer with Latin. Whereas a barrister is a failed actor who likes to dress up in women's clothes. If I had my way, they'd be locked up in a cell with an insurance agent. It's a fate worse than death. I'll never forget my first encounter with one of these erudite drag acts. It was when the wife was up for willful damage. It was all a terrible misunderstanding. She'd bent down to tie up a shoelace and she accidentally backed into a passing juggernaut. I must be fair, everybody was wonderful. They worked all night, but sad to say, the lorry was a write-off. I realised that the barrister I'd retained to fight this dreadful case wasn't Britain's answer to Perry Mason, because when he arrived at the trial an hour after it had started, he had no briefs. That would have been so bad, but he'd forgotten his trousers as well. I then inquired of the bewigged buffoon just how much his services were going to cost me. When I came round, I took one look, took him on one side, and I told him I wanted nothing but the best for the wife. And he was to employ all his intellectual and oratorial skills to ensure that she received every consideration. And I must say I was overjoyed by his reaction. He said with any luck she'd get 20 years. Tears sprang to me ducts as she entered the dock for the swearing in, which took an unnecessarily long time, due to the fact that she placed her hand on the card and read the Bible. She was magnificent. In ringing tones, she promised to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and she did. In half an hour, the court knew exactly who was having it off with the Coleman. And they got a detailed description of her recipe for tripe Diane. The judge dismissed the case, pending a psychiatric report. On me. I found out who the hell I'd married her in the first place. But throughout this grotesque debacle, my barrister was about as much use to me as the collected thoughts of Eddie Waring. Do you know, he was so ignorant about the law, he thought legal aid was a fizzy drink. And the judiciary was an Israeli pudding basin. However, there are 1 or 2 good barristers around, but only too often their efforts are channeled in the wrong direction.
Yeah. Right. Well, if you take me through the events leading up to your arrest, Basher, I will prepare your defence.
Yes, all right, Gav. Well, it was like this. I'd had a skinful down the pub.
I see. You had visited a hostelry where you had partaken of a small amount of liquid refreshment.
Yeah, yes. And after I staggered home...
After taking the night air on the way to your residence?
Yeah, well, the lights were out, and I thought the old cow had gone to bed.
You surmised your beloved wife had retired.
When I opened the door, there she's on the carpet with these two bleeding jippos.
You realised she was entertaining two gentlemen of Romany extraction.
So, I knocked their teeth down their throat.
You said hello.
Broke their fingers one by one.
Shook them by the hand.
And threw them out in the street.
And gave them a lift home.
Then I took the old cow by the neck.
Then you embraced your dear wife?
I strangled her.
Passionately.
Then the fuzz broke the door down, so I set about him with a meat cleaver.
Then the police arrived for the fencing lessons you had arranged for them.
I put 4 of them in the hospital before they managed to get the cuffs on me and drag me down to the nick.
Then you decided to give yourself up. Right, well, to sum up, you were out collecting for Oxfam. You stopped on the way home to buy a milkshake and to direct 2 gypsies to the hospital. Then you blacked out and woke up to find yourself under arrest.
Yeah, that's about it. Do you think I'll get off?
Oh, yes, of course you'll get off. The question is, how much compensation can I get for you? Come along.
Of course, in this country, we've always been justifiably proud of our legal system, whereby a man is innocent until proven to be Harold Wilson. But can we now guarantee law and order when the long arm of the law seems riddled with arthritis and society is becoming so violent that the muggers are afraid to go out at night? More and more we see quiet English communities degenerating into Sodoms of anarchy. Take the tragic little village of Lower Grindlemole, once a sleepy hamlet. That was so old-fashioned it had one store. It was called a do-it-thyself shop. It was policed by a single bobby until it was designated as a residential development area, which meant that they built tower blocks so high the birds wouldn't roost for fear of vertigo. Mind you, the whole estate was vandal-proof. The windows came ready smashed. But needless to say, the kids brought up in such a dehumanised environment became so antisocial that only 2 choices were open to them. Either to become hardened criminals or to go into politics. In fact, they were so tough they used to take off hubcaps from cars while they were still moving. Let us take an analytical look at the increase in serious crime in Lower Grindlemole. With the first month, the figures rocket. There are 97 burglaries, 82 car thefts, and someone has been beaten up every 10 minutes. The poor village bobby can do nothing about it. He's the one they're beating up. In February, the crime rate really grows. The post office is robbed so many times, the postmistress stops bothering to put her hands down. March comes, and with it, a crack police anti-crime squad from one of our major cities. They soon get to work, exercising all the skills and tactics essential to the modern, hard-pressed policeman. And the result on the crime figures is inevitable. We don't really mean this, officer, we really don't. Worse is to come. In April, the local village bobby is discovered working part-time as a pickpocket for Dennis Healy. More trouble in May when 10 coachloads of Manchester United supporters stop off at Lower Grindlemole and are promptly mugged by the local brownie pack. June. Television is blamed when a man is found dead at the bottom of a block of flats. Someone dropped a set on his head from the 18th floor. Police fear an outbreak of crossroads. In July, the Lower Grindlemole Carnival develops into a riot. There's street fights, arson, bloodshed, looting, and the Italians surrender just in case. By August, a little boy shoots his parents so he can go on an orphan's picnic. September, the local vicar is unfrocked because it turns out he's a hitman for the atheists. In October, a panorama crew arrives to make a film of juvenile delinquents in action, and the crime rate doubles because they keep asking for retakes. November, and happily, Bonfire is a great success. The night air rings with whoops and excited yells as the entire new estate is burnt to the ground. Then, incredibly, in December, the crime rate plummets. The old village Bobby comes out of hiding. The birds sing in the tree. They don't cough anymore. Peace is restored. And why? Because everyone's bloody well left, that's why. Because they've moved to the new high-rise council estate in sleepy Upper Grindlebowl, where the whole sorry nightmare is to begin again. Laws, of course, are a necessity, if only to protect us from those who might infringe upon our rights as citizens. Sometimes, however, people are forced to take the law into their own hands, as did next-door neighbours, the Hargreaves and the Wilkinsons. As you can see, they used to get on very well together. Wilkinson and Hargreaves were both very keen gardeners, friendly rivals in the local chrysanthemum club, while their respective wives also enjoyed each other's company. In fact, you could say they were typical, perfect neighbours. Until, that is, Hargreaves bought Mrs. Hargreaves a little puppy dog for her birthday. And shortly afterwards, 3 things happened. 1. Mr. Hargreaves' pride and joy took a fancy to Mr. Wilkinson's prized chrysanthemum beds. 2. Mr. Hargreaves started a bonfire while Mrs. Wilkinson was drying her washing. And 3. Mrs. Wilkinson decided to get her own back. This, in fact, was the act that brought the full majesty of the law to their assistance, as at this point, both the Hargreaves and the Wilkinsons instructed their solicitors to sue for nuisance and negligence. However, as solicitors moved with all the speed of a one-legged turtle with chilblains, the only thing that developed was the Hargreaves and Wilkinsons' propensity for being deliberately unpleasant to each other. One dirty deed followed another.
There's a cloud in the sky.
After the war had waged for a further 3 months, and still the solicitors of both parties were showing about as much enthusiasm for their job as a dinosaur vasectomist, Hargreaves took the law into his own hands.
I'll be as quick as I can, darling.
Thereafter, things got steadily worse. Wilkinson took the offensive and made a direct hit. While Hargreaves also used the element of surprise in his attacks, but preferred the more subtle approach. Not to be outdone, Wilkinson doctored Hargreaves' lawnmower. Which Hargreaves countered with. Wilkinson and Hargreaves realised the error of their ways and called a truce. On coming home from hospital after a lengthy stay on the free list and boiled mince, which is enough to make anybody think twice, sanity prevailed, but, well, for a short while anyway.
Gordon, this really is very silly and painful.
Yes, it is childish.
Let's end it here and now.
Yes, let's.
Right.
And all because they couldn't be patient and wait 20 years for the law to take its course. All because they took the law into their own hands. So let that be a warning to you. If you must take the law into your own hands, do it in a constructive way. Strangle your solicitor. Now, tonight we've talked mostly about men. But what about women? Because women are different. Thank God. But how do they fare when their menfolk get into serious trouble? Well, they just simply carry on, and on, and on, and on.
So, everything all right, Ada, love?
Oh, not so bad, apart from my back. I've been a martyr with my back ever since I was pulled out of the rubble by the ARP, you know. I got my hot flushes as well. I'm all right apart from that.
Only I thought you were looking a little bit down, you
Peaky.
see. Bit peaky. And I haven't seen Bert for 3 months. What's he doing?
3 months.
Back to his old ways again, eh? Well, I blame you. You've only yourself to blame.
I
You should
know.
have got rid of him years ago, Ada.
I know.
I mean, from the day you married him, you've never got on.
Don't remind me, even at the wedding reception, we had separate cakes.
Well, I mean, I never liked him, as you know. His eyes were too close together.
My mother, God rest her soul, she used to say, he fathered a stoat.
Yeah. Oh, well, do you know, I always suspected that he had bent tendencies.
Well, they look normal enough to me, and I brought 3 up.
You're pig ignorant. You really are. I mean, let's face it, when you were courting, you must have known about his antisocial leaning.
Oh, he told me all about it, but they seemed to clear up when he had his appliance.
Pathetic. What's he inside for this time, anyway?
So stupid. He bought an old car so he could pick his dole money up quicker. He was coming back on the North Circular Road. He got a puncture. He was just changing the wheel and a car drove up. A fella got up and opened his bonnet.
Oh, whatever happened then?
Oh, he were blazing.
It would be.
He said, what the hell are you doing? The fella said, if you're having the tyres, I'll have the battery.
What did Bert do then?
Oh, you know, it's like his temper. Hair trigger his temper.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember that night at the Johnsons?
Oh,
wedding anniversary, with that sliver of tripe went down the ear trumpet.
Oh,
well, he hit this fella, and this bloke fell very awkwardly across one of those things that stick up outside road junctions, you know.
Bollards?
No, the Bert hit him on the chin. Just lay there, sprawled. The police had him for assault.
Oh, Ada, love. Well, whatever happened when you got to court? I mean, did Bert have an advocate?
He just had a lager and lime, that was all. And the judge said, is this the first time you've been up before me?
What did Bert say?
He said, I don't know. What time do you normally get up?
There we have mankind fettered by the manacles of the law. But at least in this country, we still have free speech. On this programme, I've been at liberty to say the things that had to be said. From Dawson Control, good night, citizens. Good night. Before I was born, my father used to have a nasty habit of running off and leaving mother for months on end. And then when I came on the scene, they gazed at me in my crib and they held hands and ran off together. Even then I had this feeling that I wasn't wanted. Little things like at my christening, my father threw a piranha fish in the font. I met the wife at a travel agency. She was looking for a holiday, and I was the last resort. When I proposed, it was in the backyard of their garden. We held hands and watched the moon go down over her father's underpants. And when I stood at the altar on my wedding day, a new feeling came over me that I'd never experienced before. It was unique, sick. And yet on my honeymoon night, when I carried my bride over the threshold, I realised I had everything that a man needs in life. I had a wife, a home, and a double hernia. These disjointed ramblings do have a purpose. That is, of course, to expose the most fearful weapon in the arsenal of the faceless ones, those who oppose us, who oppress mankind. It's a weapon which robs a man of his dreams, makes impotent his ambitions. It's called the family. Good evening. Tonight, we here in Dawson Control are going to help you concentrate your minds on the family. By the end of the evening, we hope you will realise just how they manipulate us, all by playing on our sense of family duty. The mafia, the Borgia, the Machiavellis, all with families and tyrants to boot. It's no wonder that kids grow up bewildered. As a child, my mother used to do her best to make me walk and talk. And as soon as I did, she told me to sit down and shut up. But if people didn't get married, there wouldn't be any families. So just why do people get married? Well, they have to do. Otherwise, they'd have to fight with strangers. Yet people are still getting hitched, and they're getting younger than ever. The last wedding I went to, they were so young we didn't throw rice, we threw rusks. But in fairness, I must say that my marriage has helped my career immensely. It's given me the will and the drive to want to earn enough money so that one day I'll be able to send the wife and her dear mother and all the kids for a long holiday in the country. China, Tibet, Chile, anything. Do you know that for 7 years, every Christmas Day, the wife's family have come to our house for their turkey dinner? Last year we had a change. I let them in. I've got a photograph of the wife's family here. I told you not to look. I won't show it because there's enough misery in the world. It looks like Dracula's birth chart, this does. This is typical of my family. I've got the mother-in-law in the corner. She's got a face like a tin of condemned veal. She's glaring at the camera like a rampant warthog. Do you know, I must say one thing about her, though. She's got many things that men desire. Muscles and a dueling scar. Do you know, even to this day, she still calls me effeminate. Not that I mind, because compared to her, I am. And there's the father-in-law in the other corner. He's like a tooth with a nerve pulled. Do you know, he's so thin he once got trapped in a Carmen roller. He swallowed tomato juice once and we used him as a thermometer. And I've never known a man so nervous. He bites his fingernails, but I must say that the mother-in-law cured him. She hid his teeth. There's brother-in-law Rodney. Look at it, what a face. It's got all the charm and the personality of a Tunisian bedpan. Now, I'm not saying he's lazy, but the last job he had was a hod carrier on Tower of Babel. He never gets out of bed. I said to him once, I said, why don't you get outside and walk around for a bit? He said, no. He said, opportunity only knocks once, and I want to be in when it calls. There's the wife's three sisters. It's difficult to describe them, but they still get fan mail from Macbeth. Do you know, they've been on the shelf so long, they're beginning to ferment. There's the grandchildren with Uncle George. He's a little potty. He sleeps under the bed. Well, he's a Jerry. I give him a tinkle in China. Now, he's been going strange for a long time. He keeps telling people he's a hen. Now, I know he needs treatment, but we need the eggs. So there you have it, the most crushing weight you can carry, the family. And yet there's always somebody in the family who you have a special rapport with. It's the one person that you find you have this great relationship. With me, it was my great-aunt Margaret. She was in show business. She was the last of the Edwardian Gaiety girls in London. Men used to drink champagne from a slipper and throw roses after she danced. She was 57 when she retired with damp feet and green fly. Just before she passed away at the ripe old age of 95, she called me to her bedside and she gripped my arm and she croaked, "Nephew, if you ever fail to get a laugh as a comedian with the BBC, I'll turn over in my grave." And after that, she passed over, and the wan shafts of sunlight came through the heavy curtains. That was 15 years ago. Last week, I was in Wolverhampton. I attended a séance, and the spiritualist said, "I've got a message for you from the other side." I said, "Who's it from?" She said, "I don't know. It's somebody called Spinning Maggie." Of course, the other problem with families today is that they're expensive, especially at family occasions. Take the 312 shopping days of Christmas. Now, commercialism has ruined Christmas. And what's more, religion's creeping into it. We've got to watch that. You see, for many years I was an atheist, but I gave it up. I was getting no holidays. I remember Christmas when it was a time when the air was filled with the excited laughter of children, unwrapping their simple gifts. And you don't hear that anymore. It's drowned by the sound of parents sobbing over their bank accounts. And it's not just Christmas. All sentiment is big business now.
Ah, a card for your mother, sir. That's right, yes. Pretty picture. Will that be all? Yes, thanks. You're quite sure? Sorry? You're not forgetting that Monday is Cousin's Day? What? Cousin's Day. A day to inform all your cousins that they're not taken for granted by sending them a Cousin's Day card.
But I've got 14 cousins. I couldn't possibly send them all cards. It would cost me a fortune.
As you wish, sir. It'd be a trifle embarrassing if they all send you one, won't it?
Oh, very well, then. Would you have to take a cheque?
Certainly, sir. 14 Cousin's Day cards, one Mother's Birthday card, pretty picture. That's £18.50, sir. Any nephews or nieces, sir?
Yes, sir. No.
Ah, great uncle, great grandmothers, step brothers, sisters-in-law, little bits on the side. Perhaps an aunt that you don't mention.
No, none of those.
Thank you, sir. Cats. You look a pussy person. Only Thursday is Cat's Day, and we have a special card scented with catnip. Yes, the smell lingers, doesn't it? But the verse is delightful. When winter comes and snow time too, and at my toes frost nibbles, there's one warm heart that's always true, and that's my faithful Tibbles.
I don't have a cat called Tibbles.
But we have a selection, sir, of Snowy, Smoky, Blackie, Jerry, Chloe, Cleo, Percy, Pinky, Perky, or just plain Puss.
I don't want a card for my cat. I don't have a cat.
Oh, a dog, sir. A chihuahua. A hamster.
But you just give me the cards I bought.
Oh, very well, sir. But, you're not forgetting tomorrow, are you?
Pardon?
The most important of all, the one who does so much in the house, helps keep it clean. The one without whom your potatoes will go unpeeled, and your dishes unwashed, and your undies unrinsed.
You don't mean tomorrow's...
Yes. It's kitchen sink day.
Now, before we go any further, let's see what the average man in the street thinks about his relations.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry, officer, it's all a filthy lie. You see, I'm merely doing some freelance surveying for the council. Oh.
I'm asking the average man in the streets what he thinks about relations.
I say, you're not Joan Bakewell by any chance?
No, I'm afraid I'm not.
Oh, what a pity. I'm a great admirer of hers. I'm particularly impressed the way she can cajole the public at large into volunteering their services for all manners of worthy causes. Also the fact, hey, you look great with now, Tom.
Yes, well, I'm sorry I'm not Joan Bakewell, but I would like to know what you think about relations.
What?
You know, Mater.
With who?
The father figure, the titular head.
Oh.
Did you say?
Oh, a bonus!
sorry about that. The wife can't stand that character. She don't think so much of me either. But you usually begin a family with a nervous walk down the aisle, a wedding. Now, it should be the happiest day of your life, a spiritually uplifting experience, second only to reversing over a traffic warden. I'll never forget my wedding day, but they do say that time is a great healer. Now, the wife wanted us to have a big wedding in a big church. Well, it had to be a big church to get her mother in. Then we had to jack up the steeple. It was one disaster after another. Her brother was the best man, a weightlifter, who's been disbarred for tampering with an opponent's dumbbells. He crushed the wedding ring to a pulp. I had to nip into the vestry and rip another one off the curtains. The wife was in white from head to foot. She looked like Beachy Head. I don't think that the vicar held out much hope for our marriage, because when he pronounced us man and wife, he looked at me very soulfully and said, "Sanctuary's an extra." But at least it was a wedding with some ceremonious affectations. They don't have weddings like that anymore. Where's all the pomp, the grandeur? Modern weddings have about as much sense of occasion as a Tupperware party thrown by Nicholas Parsons.
Do you, Jane Elizabeth, take this man?
Excuse me.
What?
I was wondering if I could change the word take, only it implies a rather aggressive emotional possessiveness.
Oh, I see. Well, what do you suggest? Do you, Jane Elizabeth, sort of ask this man to be...
Can we change man? It imposes a sexual hierarchy on our bond.
Do you, Jane Elizabeth, sort of ask this human being to be your lawful? No. To be your partner in an egalitarian emotional arrangement? To have and to hold?
Hold it. What does that bit mean, to have and to hold? Does it refer to,
Partly, yes.
Well, in that case,
To have and to hold, except when I don't feel like it. For better, for worse, for richer, for poorer.
just a moment. I think we'll skip those two, shall we?
Yes, yes, except when I don't feel like it. In sickness and in health.
Depending on the sickness.
Depending on the sickness. As long as ye both shall live.
Together.
As long as ye both shall live together.
I'll try.
Try?
We think that's more valid.
Oh, now look here. I mean, I'm as progressive as the next vicar. But I mean, why didn't you bring these alterations up at last night's rehearsal?
Since then, we've been giving it some serious thought.
And we think it's irresponsible to make rash promises.
Oh, really?
So in that case, let's cut from there to this.
I now pronounce you co-persons.
When the family tree bears fruit, the fruit has to be nurtured so that it can ripen to maturity, which is the cycle of life. As my father said to me many years ago, he said, "Son, go forth and multiply." Well, words to that effect. With parenthood comes the responsibility of education, and one of the most important facets of education is the relationship between parent and teacher, which manifests itself in the convivial dalliance known as the parents' evening. And this is a typical one. Yes, a time to browse amongst your child's essays, wherein you'll find graphic descriptions of your private life, and the fact that he's told all his mates at school that you're 8 foot tall and you're a Grand Prix racing driver. The most important facet of this is it's a mature discussion between parent and teacher regarding the interests of your child.
Oh, yes, good. Now, is there any particular thing you'd like to ask me about young...
What we really wanted to know...
Is there any chance of us getting back in time for Crossroads? Only Meg's going to break the news to David tonight, you see.
I see, yes. Well, I'll try and keep it short, but I do think it helps for parents to take an active interest in...
I agree with you, yeah. Well, I'm right with you there.
Oh, good. Now, about your Tommy. Now, I do really feel that...
Excuse me.
Hmm?
Which one's that?
Who?
Which one's Tommy? Is he the one with the curly hair and the fat legs?
Now, you're thinking of Troy.
No, I'm not. Troy's the chubby one in the back room.
That's my mother.
Tommy has freckles and bright ginger hair.
Ah, him.
Now, that's the biggest argument against big families since the Osmond brothers first came into this world grinning at us. You check that lad Tommy, he comes from a family that's so big his father pays capital gains tax on his family allowance. They serve soup through a fan. They don't have a babysitter, they have a shepherd.
I think perhaps he needs more active encouragement in the home environment.
Why?
What?
Well, I mean, what's the use? Everything he learns here is useless.
I think we really have to face the facts that your son's reading and writing are, well, shaky.
He's a late developer.
He's 16.
He's 12. Clint's 16.
That's Wayne.
We haven't got a Wayne.
Yes, we have. He's the spotty one who sleeps under the stairs.
That's my mother.
Look, whoever he is, young Hewitt knows very little about anything. He couldn't find the Himalayas the other day.
No, that's typical. Can't remember where he's put anything.
He didn't even know where Europe is when I asked him.
Well, what use is that? Europe? You get on a bus if you want to go there. Makes no difference knowing where it is. No, I don't see any point in keeping him here if that's the rubbish he learns.
Very well. What do you suggest happens now?
Couldn't he go on to university straight away?
But perhaps the most horrendous family ritual of all is that journey through Hades, known as the day out. Dawson's probing cameras followed this shabby brood on a typical outing.
Dad, it's nice to...
The wife's thrilled at finally getting the old man out on a Sunday. The kids are excited, and Gran's so chuffed she's hired some dressed teeth, especially for the occasion. As for Dad, he's only thinking of how much the whole thing is going to cost. They stop for sandwiches. Shrimp paste garnished with salt. And they incur their first expenditure, £7 for a ruined picnic hamper, plus £2 laundry. Of course, there's one thing that all seaside resorts have in common. No parking space. Luckily, this fellow's wife lends a hand. Causing £20 damages. But it's worth it all to feel the sand beneath your feet and the tar between your toes. Father assumes his time-honoured role as pack mule, pumping seaside accessories which will only ever be used once and which will set him back a meagre £14.60. Are the children at play? Oh dear, oh dear. Now, those sunglasses were very expensive, the latest kind. They even go dark in moonlight. They set them back £12. Now Mother Nature calls, and at 2 pence per person, that's fourpence. Then there's the basic essentials. Ah, yes, beach games. A chance for Dad to relive the glories of his lost youth. To wallow in playful nostalgia. That cost a fiver to stop him pressing charges. Meanwhile, the kids are working steadily through the flavours, leaving Mum and Dad to settle back and relax, along with Granny. Well, hang on, where's Gran? Gran's gone missing. And there's the only clue to her. The only clue is her hat. Now, that's very irresponsible. The sand's polluted enough as it is. And now it's beach cricket. Suddenly, Dad is Colin Cowdery, an elegant stroke player. revelling in the familiar crack of leather. On glass.
Bloody hell!
Of course he would be Irish. Gran's been given £3 to play bingo. And meanwhile, the family are going to be taken for a ride. That's it, Dad, typical. They've no sense of adventure, the kids today. Go on, drag them on. Oh, they'll love it. Great value. All those thrills for just £1 an hour, plus the cost of the lunch he's about to get rid of. Oh, on to those crazy moves.
Frida, how do I get fire out of this place? Frida!
Now he knows how much plate glass will cost. Ah, well, in for a penny. Oh, the blind fool. But now Dad's luck changes. His son recoups £1 on the one-armed bandit. Which Dad's about to lose on the no-armed bandit. £4 repairs. But the good news is Granny wins at bingo! £5, lovely! The bad news is she keeps it to herself. Still, at least there's a chance for young inquiring minds to increase their education.
It's a shame, Dad. It's fantastic. Don't touch that!
The cost of recovering a lifeboat, £172. Of course, no day trip would be complete without the relaxed crawl home, when families went home with satisfied in the knowledge that everyone else has had a bloody rotten day as well.
Stupid idiot! Look at him cutting in like that. Things I ask you.
Home at last, and funny enough, Mum was right all the time. Yes, he had left the gas on. So there you have it, a fun-packed visit to the seaside. And all it cost Father was a very reasonable £23,443.41. Well, we've talked about fathers, but what about the other side of the family? What about the mothers? Now, we don't have to talk about them. They do it themselves.
Yeah. Anyway, I tell you what. I saw that you had all the family over yesterday. Must have been quite an occasion. I counted 3 tins of salmon, a cos lettuce, a dish of apricots, not to mention a full can of pineapple chunks. I saw them when I was hoovering our Raymond's bedroom.
My God, you don't miss much from behind those mail-order tools, do you? I mean, wait a minute, you can't see into our kitchen from your Raymond's bedroom.
Well, you can if you stand on top of the wardrobe. Now, come on, Chuck, tell me, what was it all about?
The family get together, they're all up to discuss our Gladys. She's getting married in just under 3 weeks.
Oh, my gum, she doesn't let grass grow under her feet, does she? She's only known that fella 7 months. I mean, even by today's standards, it's a bit quick, isn't it? Hey, look, whatever's to do? She's not. She hasn't fallen. She's not. Oh.
She's, We thought it was a false alarm at first, but it's positive. She's had the frog test. I don't mind telling you, sis.
No.
If Mother was alive now, this shock would kill her. I've only just got over that, you know.
Well, I know.
I'll never forget that day. I was in the kitchen cooking the boiled ham for the funeral. Lovely corn. I got it from the co-op. You know that little fella? Stiff fella with a funny leg.
That's right, yes. Didn't his son run a shoemaking shop in Dorking?
He did very well, I
That's
believe.
right. Oh, yes, he did very well. You know, he had 3 cobblers under him, you know.
takes all sorts to make a world. I was just based in the ham and I heard my mother call out in that little piping voice she had, which always belied her years.
Oh,
you know.
it did.
And I don't know what, I just was rooted to the spot. I just couldn't. I had these flushes. And the back of my head with that migraine.
Oh, you still get it.
Oh, still get them. They can't do anything. The specialist says I'm a miracle, you know, to be doing what I'm doing, you know. And I don't know how I got into the bedroom, but she said, come quickly, come quickly. She said, I'm slipping away. I thought she was falling off the bed. And she was there on the bed, and she'd thrown the Whitney blankets off. She was sat up, she was turning black. She said, we'll always be sweethearts. Oh. And she put her arm out just like a faggot.
Oh, it's heart-rending.
And I don't know where she got the strength from, but she gripped the sleeve. You remember that organdy flounce blouse I bought? Oh, really? With those coordinates from C&A?
Oh, well, yours look nice in that.
I wore it at Whipsnade, you know. She said, I'm sorry to burden you like this, because I'm going to join your father. She said, whatever you do, look after our Gladys. She's backwards. But she's well in front now.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I was just so relieved when our marigold went down the aisle in white.
She looked beautiful, didn't she?
Mind you, we'd invited the deputy mayor, you know, well, with Leonard being a Freemason.
Oh. Do you know, I've never said this to you before, but I've always been slightly envious.
Have you, though?
You've always done so well for yourself. I know he's nothing to look at, but he did well in the audit department, didn't he, old Leonard?
Well, I must say, he's come on a bit.
I was a fool. I just married for lust. As usual, the women must have the last word, but not on this show, men. Here in Dawson Control, the final bastion of male supremacy, it is my prerogative to bid you farewell and say...
Bye!
Why, you insolent doxies! They've won again, but I don't mind, because you see, it's traditional to have a party at the end of the series. Oh, I must take ugly pills. And that's where they've been picked. That's why they're here tonight, so... Good night, folks.